You go into your preferences and see if you can switch cameras. If not, we'll just look at your feet and say fuck it.
That's what I'm doing right now. I don't know why it even switched. It's just so interesting that this even all that happened was I lost internet and I joined a different network. That is it. That is literally quite it. This is so wild.
Just put your head by the pedal board.
Yeah, just
like a lay down shot.
Yeah, just go to sleep. We'll just watch you sleep on your pedal board.
It's just so interesting, man. That like.
Well, it's just this is what we were talking, because me and you, Matt, were talking about how fucking wild this whole platform was. Sort of like
it's so interesting.
It's so interesting.
I'm watching the live feed. You got a fucking background.
Yeah,
you got like a Twilight background.
You like that?
Going on, that's fucking dope.
Oh, dude, it's really tight. Like, there's a whole video element now to the show. Like on YouTube, there's all kinds of shit, dude. Like, I got dude, I'll talk to you about it. It's fucking tight. So Matt, you were before we're just gonna talk to Matt's feet for now until Matt figures out how to get this right.
It's just craziness.
Oh, I know, and this is what we're kind of talking about. Like the platform itself is one thing, but like trying to get the technology together is a whole nother thing. Oh shit, my sub badges fucking show up. I hope you guys like my sub badges. It says "We Speak English Good." What? I just noticed that. Sorry, guys. This is just a running joke. LMAO. There's always something. You're absolutely right. But no, the technical difficulties involved with doing this and the shit that you got to learn. It's almost like you got to become sort of like an engineer, and you got to learn. And it's not like it's all spelled out for you either. Like you got to watch one YouTube video, watch another YouTube video. You got to read a fucking Reddit thing. You know, like you got it's just, and then you got to put it all together and sort of make it fit where you're at. Matt, how was that experience for you when you first started getting into Twitch?
I mean, I didn't know a damn thing about any of this stuff, and so this is literally, I mean, I'm just learning it as I go continuously. As you can see, the internet and this technology just decides to do whatever it wants to sometimes, and then you'll be in an experience streaming or what have you, and then all of a sudden a driver fails, and you don't even know what a driver is. you roll with it, you know what I mean? It's continuous.
Yeah,
all of it.
Yeah, man, and like you'll be going through you'll be going through all the troubleshooting shit. You'll be Googling shit. And like I've started like 6 hours before I had to start streaming, and I'm still like 5 minutes to the time, to our set time, and I'm still like sweating it out, like, oh my god, it's fucking bananas.
You what Reina Meanwhile, I'm killing it for Reina Mystique.
Yeah.
Your face, Mike.
I know. No, Reina likes to rub it in my face that she has that her stream is real easy, because I have a fucking green screen. I have like, especially my live loop sessions are just like all of my equipment just crammed into the studio, and then me just doing what I mean. It takes me hours and hours. Meanwhile, Reina just has her fucking ukulele and a little bit of reverb, and she's fucking good to go. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's
killing you, bro.
she is
fucking murdering you right now.
This thing is killing me right now because I have no clue why it's utilizing my my GoPro as a damn camera.
That's a good.
I didn't know you could do that.
Yeah,
This is so wild.
You can hook your cell phone up as a cam. You can use a camera, a DSLR or mirrorless setup as a cam, and yeah, it goes deep, dude. It goes so fucking deep. It's so weird how you can. It's so weird too, because how you're finding these Twitch stars who are like Twitch stars, but then they're like social medias are like they only got like 1,200 followers, and like their YouTube is like 10 views on their videos, and
like numbers could be like off. So like you're popular on Twitch,
right?
But then you have like 50 Instagram followers, 1,000 YouTube followers, and like your MySpace is off the hook, like 10,000 MySpace followers. Yeah, that's crazy how things just don't
Still
relate
just
because it's different demographics, I guess, right?
Well, yeah, with well, like Twitch is the great thing about Twitch is that it's this platform that's built for this for live streaming so people come here and they know it's like I'm gonna go hang out with my friend or hang
Right,
out with
right.
this musician or hang out with this gamer.
Okay.
Like
Yeah, I didn't know Twitch was like. So Twitch is more so people like, I know this is live stream. Well, what IG is like, well, we see pictures and maybe videos and maybe a live stream and maybe a business account. Okay.
right. Same thing with Facebook, because and even in fact, Facebook just bought out that other streaming company, and they incorporated it as Facebook Gaming. So they are starting a whole streaming subcategory. So
You ever think about this? One stream, Pornhub Live.
well, I think yeah, Twitch is growing fast. Thank you, Will, for sure. Pornhub Live. What was the? Oh, do you remember that comedian Wheeler Walker Jr. Or he's a singer. He's like a country singer, and like he premiered his video on Pornhub because
That's great idea.
because it's a comedy. He's a comedy singer. He's a comedy country singer, and he had this, he sings about dirty stuff. He's talking about, from A to P or whatever. A to P, Jesus. But so he put it on Pornhub, and like he went on Joe Rogan and put it on Pornhub, and all of a sudden he had a career. And before that he was just some comedian who was sort of struggling, and then he had this idea and it worked. But it's just interesting. It's an interesting platform that's sort of growing, and I was talking to these streamers called their name is the Fantastic Plastic. Matt, can you hear me, by the way? I hope I'm not...
I can hear you fine.
Okay.
I'm in the rabbit hole of trying to figure out
Okay.
why the hell this camera is doing what it's doing, and it's kind of driving me nuts right now.
No, I understand, man. I completely understand. And if you want to just do a phone call, if this is gonna, if we go too long where it's just out of control, we could just, cut your camera and you can just talk to us on the phone or something. But we're holding out for Matt, because I think most people are holding out for Matt right now. We're holding out for you, Matt.
I'm trying.
No, I know, man. It's way more complicated than it should be. But we're also trying to transmit like fucking 1080p HD. We're trying to deliver the best sound. We're trying to deliver all this shit. And so it takes a lot of bandwidth, man. It takes a lot of bandwidth and balls. And Willow had it right. It takes a lot of balls to get in front of a camera and sweat like I do. But yeah, man. What? I'm sweating.
Yeah, sweaty baloney.
Oh boy.
Yeah, Matt is just being bashful. No, but I was talking to the Fantastic Plastics. Matt, have you ever heard of the Fantastic Plastics?
I have not.
Oh, dude, you should check them out. By the way, Matt, do you hang out in chats a lot? Do you make your rounds?
I do.
Yeah, I mean, because what was interesting about Matt, and I was telling him the other day, I was like, dude, it was like, I popped into your stream one day, and I was like, oh sweet, Matt's on fucking Twitch, and there's like a couple people on there, just hanging out, and then like 2 weeks later, I don't know what, I just came to your chat, and all of a sudden there's like 25 people hanging out. There's like a whole fucking community, like people, there's like traditions and shit. Like, it's been 2 weeks, motherfucker. What is happening here? But
It's I mean, it just kind of happens. I mean, the same thing happens in regular normal life outside of the internet. You kind of put yourself out there, you be who you are, and it attracts folks into your circle.
right.
And so it's the same thing with this. We're just having to read it off the internet, instead of experience it in person all the time.
Right, and the thing that I really like about Twitch and is that when when you do sort of have this community that they are interested in you and they're interested in what you do, they're interested in like they are interested in listening to your music, and they want to get to know you. And you're right, it's like real life, but I just feel like that when the kind of musician that I am, and on some level the kind of musician you are, because we play similar gigs, whereas we do cover songs, we'll throw in originals, and and it's a night, we get paid for playing a whole night. And some of those moments, some of those gigs, you almost feel like, you're being ignored, or like almost like people don't even want you there, or like they just want to see the game in peace or something. They just came for a drink, and this guy's ruining my night with his songs and sounds and shit. I feel like in this community, yes, you could be playing to an empty chat, right? You could be streaming to no one. But I feel like once you do start sort of building, and when people do come, it's for the right reasons. It's not because you're sort of imposed on someone's evening, randomly. Like
because they want to be there.
Yeah, it's because they want to be there, and you do get random people who just sort of pop in and hang out, but it's just been like this really interesting and warm community. I guess what I'm trying to say is that it's kind of the exact opposite for me, from what I've experienced out on the road, being a real life musician, because obviously there's amazing shows. I have amazing shows. I have amazing memories. Some of them with Caleb. Caleb is a hip hopper. He's a rapper, poet. And we used to be in a band together, and we've had great shows together, and you have those beautiful moments, but I mean, but there's just so many of those not so great moments that you have too.
Yeah, are you saying like just people want to watch the game, or people that show up, they don't even know a show's going, and they want to hang out on Saturdays? Like, oh shit, I didn't know a band from out of town was coming.
Right.
I was trying to watch a hockey game or some shit,
Yeah.
Yeah. But sometimes that works in their favor or your favor, because like they start enjoying the music, and then you just pick up a random fan.
Yeah, exactly.
Same with Twitch. Some guy might come into a chat. You might show up on the front page or a category in Twitch. Be like, oh, let me check this guy out, or I might like his hat or his face or something. Let's see what he's about.
Right.
And then he's into the next one, and all of a sudden he has the fucking We Speak English shirt on, and he knows the inside jokes of the show.
Right. Well, and of course, this is all attainable things in the real world as well. But I guess the biggest difference is that you're not always. Hold on, I'm trying to add Matt back in here. He just hold on, Matt.
What up?
I'm gonna cancel Matt and try to add him in. Man, and also Facebook Messenger sucks as a video chat app. Okay, hold on. I missed the call with Matt. Last time, here he is. It's feed again.
This is so wild. So when I call you, it is from the right webcam.
Mm-hmm.
When you call me now, since the internet dropped,
it's
on the other cam.
Okay, so do you want me to call you back? Oh no, or do you?
I would have to call you.
Okay, why don't we do this? Call me back, Caleb. I'll bring you back in.
Let's try this.
Okay, let's try it. All right, let's do it. And this is the joys of all this, folks. I appreciate people hanging out and being patient with us. I know we're like just getting into conversations, and then it's like, oh wait, let me see. Yeah, look at that.
See, it's so weird. And I hope the internet doesn't drop out again, but for some reason where I'm at, the internet keeps failing.
Oh.
It's cutting off, and there's two different networks that I'm bouncing back and forth between.
Mm-hmm.
So this is uncontrollable. I don't know if it's due to having so many calling from the webcam. I'm not sure what it is, but I'm on a very strong signal, but it keeps dropping out. So this is a technology issue from these streams. So this is another bump in what we're dealing with here.
Exactly.
Um,
Absolutely. It's
it's
oh
it's
please.
new territory
Mhm.
that we're in, and so that's kind of the most fun thing I think about this platform and headache altogether is I've made friends with um, I've made friends on this platform. I won't mention any names, but people that are deep in very high levels of the industry, and all of us are calling each other through bumping into each other and meeting on this platform, but calling each other with the same problems we're troubleshooting. The technology has never really been used this way,
Right.
so there's new from the drivers we were joking about earlier, there's new things being invented as we do this.
Yeah.
And so I think we're at the very ground level of something that is changing the face of how we experience music going forward and just probably life in general, really. This is a very interesting time to be alive. And I don't know why it happened in our lifetimes, but we're here. But we're
It
here.
had to happen sometime, I guess.
Yeah. It's kind of interesting and it's frustrating, as you can see too, all
Yeah.
at the same time.
Yeah. So tell me about what you were doing pre-Twitch and pre-pandemic, and then sort of tell me sort of the transition into this and
From a
how
music perspective,
from a music perspective and
okay,
life. I mean, if you, I mean, if you were,
because it's a loaded question, so
No,
it
it is.
always is. But
well, you answer it however you think. I mean, you've been on the show before. You know how this goes. We talk about
Yeah, yeah.
whatever. So I mean,
Yeah,
fuck
yeah.
it. However that applies to you. I mean,
Well,
please go ahead.
well, from a music perspective, I mean, I've been playing music for 22 years, and I've been a full-time musician for 14, and so um, everything when the pandemic hit, everything stopped overnight. But my years have been prior to that is I gig on average probably about 250 shows a year.
Wow.
And so it's all year long, and that's from pubs and wineries and private parties and showcases and all of that stuff. And I've been touring the country doing that for probably the last 10 years, like outside of California. So all of the states.
Yeah.
I've lived in different sides of the states and things like that. I've lived in the East Coast. I've lived in the South. I've lived on the West Coast and everywhere in between. Ohio, right? Youngstown.
Hey.
right? I know. I can't count how many times I've been a little may or may not have been inebriated at YSU campus in Youngstown. So, but at any rate, I mean, my living has come from that, and so it's been an interesting transition to go from that real world of doing that to this new real world of digital online. And especially reading people and things like that and learning who people are and how to interact. Like our jobs as musicians have been reading people for 20 plus years. So I mean, when you walk into a room and you're at a gig and you're on stage, in the first 2 minutes, you got to know who the guy in the back of the room that wants to be in the party, how to get him in the party. You got to know who the party person is. You got to know who the person is that don't want to be bothered and just wants to sit there, enjoy a beer, and just be by themselves. Then, how to intermingle the room, and you got to do it really, really fast. Now, on Twitch or on these platforms where we've been left with post-pandemic of just digital, we're learning how to read it instead of see it. And reading it, there's so many similarities if you really just kind of pay attention to it, but it takes a while. And in the midst, you're trying to juggle technology. Like I'm not a technician. I'm not a graphic designer. I've been my own booking agent, but I'm not a booking agent. I'm not a manager, any of those things. I'm a songwriter. I'm a writer. I'm just a dude fumbling through this. But you have to wear all those hats when dealing with Twitch, and once you get going a little bit, enough to make contact with somebody, even if the microphone sounds like shit, if the reverb's not there, you can't figure out how to route this stuff. As long as you can get to the point where you're interacting on Twitch with an audience, the help has been phenomenal, and all of a sudden these people are just very willing and open to hold your hand and walk you through to get to that point, you know.
Do you find that to be quite different from the real music world for yourself? I know you said there was some similarities, but in my, for example, my experience was, you know, it hasn't always been like people are opening up the door for you for gigs and shit, or, you know, or bringing people to, you know, or being patient. You know, patience isn't really part of it. So that's what I kind of meant. Like, is for you, did you, was that something you experienced in the real world as well, or was it drastically different?
I think as a musician, in regular in-person life, like, you always want, it's kind of funny, like people say in real life, they always use IRL on the internet. I don't really like that term because I think both of it is real life. So
sure.
I when I refer to pre-pandemic, I say like in-person stuff, because it just seems more appropriate than separating the two. But I think in person, I mean, it's been a grind for a long time, and you always hope to grind your way into these rooms where you can put your art out there, and you got people that are attentive and care about the words that come out of your mouth, and they sit and they experience your time capsules of songs for yourself, you know, and enjoy it with you. I don't think that the general musician finds that, maybe even ever in their career. And if they're lucky enough to have a career out of it, it could only end up being a weekend situation, and you never reach anything other than that. And there's nothing wrong with that, but it's because of the struggle of the attention spans of people. When I joined Twitch, it was a room. It became a room really quickly of people who were attentive and listening to the words that came out of my mouth, and then to expand on that, like, it's this situation that you always wanted and not the way that you thought it would come. Like, we're sitting in a room of, it could be anywhere. I mean, depending on your following or what have you. I mean, I've had 200 people sitting in the room, you know, so like, you have 200 people sitting in the room, and it's complete silence. Each one of they could be chatting with each other just like you would be at a bar, but you don't get the bar noise.
Right.
They can have the conversation, but at the same time, the focus is on what you're doing.
Yes.
And it's that clean, precise audio is sitting in their ear the whole time that they're may or may not be having a conversation if they choose to.
Right.
It's a beautiful thing. Like, it's kind of all of those things that you always wanted at a live gig, but you're getting it digitally.
Right.
Which it does take a little bit of the piss out of it, a little bit. But I mean, as you know, like, after you get off a stream, you can still have that crazy charge you get after getting off the stage at a really good show. You get out of a stream for a really good stream, you're just like, oh shit, you know, you can run fucking 10 miles. And this is why
I'm up until 5:30 in the morning almost every day, and my physical life is falling apart, you know, because you're just I mean, I've been, like, not to cut you off, but to go back to the pre-pandemic, like, so, you know, I overbooked myself for this summer. I just bought a house for my mother and I moved her in it. And I paid my first mortgage payment February 1st, and then COVID happened. And during this whole time, I've had no government help whatsoever.
Wow.
Not a stimulus check, not of any kind. So this has been a journey for me, and I had to resort on live streaming to even cover my small bills while I sank slowly in my bigger bills.
Right.
And so there's that, but I overbooked myself for the summer so that I could save a chunk of money for my mortgage payments and things, but spend this winter with my mother and ease her into being in this new situation,
Yeah.
and myself too, and to give myself a break, you know, because it's a lot. I slow down in the winters purposely, even though I get calls, I decline them. But then so COVID happens and we've got nothing. So when things started opening up again, my phone blew up, and I'm very lucky. And in the county that I'm in, I'm literally the only musician in the county that I know of that has a full schedule back.
Whoa.
And so I got, and I feel bad for my other musician friends because I'm trying to help them as I'm helping myself prepare for what's coming down the pipeline.
Right.
So, but I'm booked as of right now. I'm booked Friday, Saturday, Sunday through December, which will probably inch into January. But with that, I stream 3 to 4 days a week. So I'm singing yesterday was the first day I did not sing in 15 days.
Whew.
And so,
Goddamn.
and I have to sing at 5:30 today. So I had last night off, and I sing today, tomorrow, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. And then I always stream Monday, Tuesday, Thursday anyway.
Wow.
So I won't get a break until next Wednesday.
God damn.
But it's, sleep is out the window. Doing anything else other than trying to keep the ship afloat and build this spaceship digitally and figure it out and tech.
Now
it's
Matt,
a lot.
do you think after the whole virus situation is done, say let's fast forward to next year, do you still see yourself doing Twitch in the quantity that you're doing it right now? Do you see you incorporating that just into your regular day-to-day, week-to-week, month-to-month life, doing a full show gigs and doing Twitch full-time as well?
So there's two possibilities to that, and it depends on how fast the world adjusts to what's happening and what it looks like coming out of this pandemic. So, and it depends on what you believe. What I believe is that music is no longer going to be in the form that we enjoyed it pre-pandemic. I believe that music will be a hybrid. We will still have live music, but streaming, music's been going this way for a long time into streaming. So we've always known about it, and we've been gearing towards it, not necessarily how to do it like this, but pandemic hit, and it took 10 to 15 years away from us, and it thrust us right into that present moment that we were running towards. So I think coming out of it, there will be smaller concerts. I don't think festivals will be what they were. I think all of those companies are going to go under before this pandemic is figured out. They can't sustain. The business models that people use do not hold up in the way that we live now. They don't. They're built to make money, but they're built to run on money, and there is no money. So I think all of that will change, which Live Nation and all, they can go fuck themselves. Like, I'm glad that it's happening the way that in that avenue, you know, like it just, I mean, they've been taking advantage of people for so long, these big entities, you know, so there's that side of it. To answer your question, yes, I will be streaming, and my hope is that I don't have to tour and break my back the way that I've been going forward. I'm 37. I've been doing this for a real long time, and I would love to be able to make a living at home and be with my mother as long as I've got her. She's 77. I'd love to write and record music and focus on that and be an artist instead of a working musician / trying to hold on to be an artist, because the two worlds don't mesh. Especially in the county, wherever you live. Like, you can't play 5 days a week and then have a concert and expect people to be there. It just doesn't work. So they don't marriage very well. So I would love to be a full-time streamer if it worked itself to doing that, just so that I have the option to play showcases outside of digital, because that's the beauty of Twitch. It's global, and we're making these friends and people who care about your art. Like, I haven't had people listen to my Spotify or my YouTube videos or request my original songs ever as much as I've had right now. Like never before.
Right.
So these little communities that are being slowly built to bigger communities in other parts of the globe, it's a beautiful thing. Like I would have never had a fan base in the Netherlands. I do now. Like, and it only took a month and a half. I've been doing this for 22 years. Shit,
Right.
we got more done in a month and a half, network wise, as far as building a team who cares, in a month and a half. Like it makes you feel cheated a little bit because technology didn't come along as fast as it should have.
Right.
But at the same time, we're in this fucked up situation of living that we didn't ask for, and we have no control over or know when it's gonna like get back to somewhat of the old normalcy.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
it's
absolutely,
interesting.
man. No, even if we do get past this pandemic, on the other side of this financially, I mean, they're talking about 40% of small businesses aren't coming back, and unfortunately, small businesses include fucking music venues, bars, restaurants where we play. So even if the pandemic, for some miracle, they can come up with some sort of vaccine that cures it by the end of the year, the damage is already done from grinding this economy. Like you addressed earlier, is like this economy is not built on like longevity. It's built on constant growth, constant income. There's business. I know businesses personally, business owners who rely fucking week to week they don't even know if they're gonna be able to pay their staff and shit. And they've been operating like that for years. So like those people are definitely done. Like those businesses are definitely gone. But
And a lot of those people are our friends.
Exactly, and it's fucking
And it
sad.
sucks.
It's really sad. I have a friend right now who's selling insurance. He's a fucking inventor who sells high-end cookware. He invents shit. He like thinks of stuff in his brain. He fucking brings it and makes it into reality. And then he goes to Walmart and fucking, and Bed and Beyond or whatever, and he tries to pitch his thing. And then he did it. He succeeded in doing these things where he got his product into these huge markets. And now, because of how things are set up, like he's a small business, and now he has to get a full-time job, fucking, and that's a really sad thing to think about, that some people who are working their entire lives for something, to just try to get it off the ground, to be some sort of self-sufficient thing, to just be wiped clean, and then meanwhile you see these calls for payroll tax cuts for these huge corporations, and the fucking and the stock market is doing great. Meanwhile, millions of people are out of work. Like it just doesn't reflect. Like none of these things reflect.
Now imagine being someone who doesn't get to apply for unemployment because they're not on paper the way that those businesses that are closing.
Exactly.
And all of the sadness from that. Just imagine you can't apply for unemployment. They don't recognize you as a job. Right. You're not on any paper trail that they can just like justify paying you.
Right.
Welcome to musicianship in 2020.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? So and we're at the bottom of the barrel of that, and we would, even though in my opinion music and art is the most important to help people through a time like this, we're the last ones that'll be brought back.
Oh yeah.
Definitely.
Oh yeah, I that's what I've been saying for a while, is like, what if the gigs went away, because of whatever reason, the dollar bottoms out, a crash, another crash, and what do you do then? Like what there's so many people dependent on it, and there were so many people, and our friends, we know lots of friends who are in this position right now where they're not getting stimuluses and they're not getting fucking unemployment, and they're just sitting there like, I don't know, I guess I'm not gonna pay rent either because I'm gonna eat, so fuck you. So I
haven't seen one.
We're heading into a really sad situation, I think, as a nation, especially just by the way things are being ran. Like obviously the people in charge have no fucking clue what's going on. Like they just
we're the Florida to the world.
we've become Florida.
We are.
That's what we are.
No, you're right. And you know what's funny? I was in a chat.
Sad.
Well, no, you're right. You're right. It's absolutely sad. But what I guess what I was gonna try to say was funny. But I was in someone else's chat the other day. His name is Aaron Goldberg, who I think you know who Aaron is. He's fucking fantastic. He was I was in his chat and I was just, it was 4th of July and I was feeling some kind of way. It was like 5 in the morning for me. There's no reason for me to be communicating with the world at 5 in the morning. That's when like all the bad, weird, stupid thoughts get out into the world. I was feeling emotional and like I was like, you know what, this world is crazy, but I'm really happy to be a fellow citizens. Happy 4th of July, blah blah blah. And 2 people in chat was like, yo, me and homeboy are not United States. It's not anything for us today. Like, and it came off like in a real snappy way. And it's like, you know, it snapped me into this realization, like we are not looked upon kindly at all. People are not into America right now. And
like, why feel sorry for the fucking Roman Empire? You know that you guys had the fucking top-notch status for so long, and you felt whatever the world has been feeling for quite some time, and they're just like, well, welcome to the real world, you know?
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's not the citizens of the Roman Empire that aren't of the Congress and politicians and of the Republic. Like, just real people are hurting, whether you're from the U.S. or Brazil or Philippines or wherever you're at, you know? It's always the small guys that's getting shitted on, basically what I'm saying.
Yeah.
It will always be. It's kind of funny this took from music into this, but I think it all is very much on the forefront.
It's very connected. It's very connected.
It's super. It is, and it. I mean, the bottom line out of all of it is it's always been and always will be the haves and the have-nots.
Right.
And what they've done is they've tricked the have-nots into believing that they can reach the haves, and it's not true. The elite and that kind of American dream that they sold people of, you could do whatever you want, you could be whoever you want to be. It is not true. People are not special. It is not that kind of thing. That kind of money that gets to say that statement, we will never know what that's like. We will never see it. You could be as wealthy as you could. I mean, you could be a millionaire, and you're still not talking about the kind of money that from someone who makes that statement and fed you that conditioning.
Right.
It's unobtainable, and it makes people fight each other, and then it makes the poor. What the saddest part is, it makes the poorest person vote for this person they believe can help them, but they've already tricked them into thinking it. Like, it's not true.
Right.
They're not out for them. They've never been. A rich person is never out for a poor person. That's how they got rich in the first place.
Right.
Like, it's just nonsense. And so, but we're in this state of cloudy thought that's been driven into our psyche for so long. It's not. And the sad part is I don't know if it's reversible.
Yeah.
It's too far down the rabbit hole, and people forget that the United States is an infant country. It's only been around for 400 or 500 years. Like, it's never.
Not even. It's not even 400, 500. It's like 200 and some years.
Or it's what, you know. It's this infant country that hasn't gone through its lumps. Like, I mean, most every other country in the world has built empires, crumbled, built again, crumbled, and built again. There's thousands and thousands of years in that. I mean, it's not surprising that we're in these boats that we're in. It's like a screaming child, you know. That's fucking trying to figure out why he got burned by touching fire. It just doesn't make sense. You know?
I agree with you, man. I agree with you, and it frightens me because it can go as far as, you know, people being like a mass starvation. You know what I mean? Like, that's what scares me. In America, where we can't even supply our own people with cotton swabs during an emergency. Fucking cotton swabs. We couldn't even fucking come up with cotton swabs. We couldn't come up with medications. We couldn't come up with essential shit that we need. We're inflating the economy right now with this made-up paper money that means nothing other than inflation. You know, like, this shit is historically repeating itself, and it's fucking scary And to think that that's a real possibility right now. And like you said, we're in this sort of like fog. I feel like we're not really recognizing it as a country from the top to the bottom. I think some of us are, and I think there's some real change sort of brewing. But I feel like we're
Kinda.
still on our iPhones, like complaining about stuff. You know, like I think it's just going beyond where we're at, and especially about like
It is.
what we're talking about in the mainstream right now. It goes farther than just race. You know, it goes further than
It sure does. It's deeper than all of that. The conditionment in so many arenas is so far down the rabbit hole. And I'll take this back into a musical perspective, or especially involving Twitch. Like, this is all of this is correlates just the same to our musician friends. So Louis, obviously Louis V. So we've been talking about this for a long time through this whole pandemic stuff, and finding Twitch was probably the best thing that could have happened to every musician if they would just find it and understand that it's not a game.
Yeah.
And so we've tried to explain this to a lot of our musician friends, and the conditionment is so deep, and the wanting to hold on to old archaic ways of doing things is so strong. And that you could relate that to religion, you could relate that to how the Constitution was written, you could relate it to all kinds of different things. We want to hold on to what we know. And so we've been trying to tell all our musician friends, and I think, I mean, if I had a quarter for every time the word Twitch came out of my mouth in the last 2 months, like, I would certainly be a little richer than I am now. But when you talk to other musicians, 99% of the time, they look at you like you're standing on the moon made of cheese.
Yeah, man.
And you don't know what you're talking about, and it's for gamers, and it's a toy, it's a this or that, and they don't take it serious, and they don't take your advice serious. And this could be, I mean, Twitch probably saved my sanity during this pandemic, and that's why I started streaming, because it was my only outlet to put my art out there and get an exchange, like if you played a live gig. And so that was first and foremost, and it still is that for me. But then I started to realize that there is a healthy exchange happening the way that it does in my gigs in real life. Sometimes people pay me to play.
Yeah.
And that's an important thing, and it's an honest thing, and there's nothing wrong with it. It's a healthy exchange, and there's an opportunity to build a following on here, which is great, of people who give a shit, like a real following, not just people who happen to be in a place where there's music and because they wanted to have a beer.
Right.
They're in a place for music that they can choose to have a beer.
Yeah.
To listen to. And so again, it's what you always wanted, but we're getting it digitally.
Right.
But this is the ground level. What I'm seeing on this as well, on a real monetary stance, like, we're sitting on the forefront of something that has never been, and that is growing before our eyes right now, and we're in it. And if you can get established in this now, I mean, unfortunately, and to a degree, unfortunately, I think that Twitch is going to blow up for musicians when they realize in the masses that regular life is not coming back.
Yes.
And that reality is coming really soon.
Yeah.
And especially with these second waves of viruses and things shutting down again and all of this stuff, businesses closing, not coming back, all of that. And when you play the stock market, you always try to hit this moving mark that's going circular, and you try to place your bet and hedge your bet, and boom, you hit, and you get some success from it, and then it keeps moving. Well, this mark of Twitch is not moving. It's sitting still, and I can see it, and you can tangibly touch it and interact with it and have fun with it, gain sanity from it, go nuts from it too, because this technology is fucking crazy. But when it blows up, we have real people who give a shit following you, and you have a real community. And that community's been here far before my dumbass found Twitch and didn't know what it was. And people have been on here for 10 plus years, you know, like I had the app on my phone for 2 years and only opened it once because I thought it was for gamers, and I was a dum-dum, and I was like, man, I don't know what I'm looking at.
Yeah.
Now I feel like I wasted time and I should have been on here 2 years ago.
Yeah, I mean, I absolutely, like, me and Reina were the same way. We had, we knew about it 4 or 5 years ago when they opened up the music section of Twitch, and we toyed with the idea, but we were living in San Diego. We were hustling, like when you're in the hustle. That's the thing. When you're in the hustle and bustle, you're not. When rent's due, motherfucker. It's like you are out there doing it, and to shift an entire paradigm of thinking and everything. Yeah, I can see how that is frightening for a lot of people. But now that we're sort of in this moment of limbo where like there's no gigs, like to just be sitting there doing nothing, hoping and wishing for things to go back the way it was, it's futile, man, and it's dangerous, and it's fucking and it's gonna lead to a lot of sadness and a lot of bad attitudes, So it's one of those things that I just feel like I keep drilling on my friends too. And I don't know if you know Johnny Tarr. He's a San Diego musician, but he was just on the show, and I was just like, every 5 minutes I was just like, dude, get on Twitch, because he has a live looping set. And, he's on Facebook. He was doing that grind. I'm curious, were you doing the Facebook grind right when the pandemic started going?
So as soon as they added the live button on Facebook and Instagram, it was on Instagram first, and then it went to Facebook. But I've been live streaming my pub gigs and stuff like that for years.
Yeah, it's been a while
since it's come on. So people are used to seeing me this way. It's still weird to me to do it this way.
Yeah.
But I've been doing that for a while, and so when the pandemic hit, what I did quickly was 1 day a week on a Wednesday, I transferred something I used to do in person onto Facebook, and I used to do a Getting Weird Wednesday in person gig at this pub. And I called it Getting Weird because I didn't know what musician friends were going to show up and jam with me, but they would always show up, and we would end up having like a different set. Every Wednesday was just completely different for 5.5 years. It was just crazy. So I started doing that, and honestly, I make more. If we're talking about finances, I make more live streaming on Facebook than I do on Twitch. But I don't enjoy Facebook, and I don't enjoy Instagram, and I would love to rid myself of those toxic platforms as much as possible. And so I don't stream doing that anymore, but I did during the pandemic, and I made enough money to pay all of my small bills and most of my credit card payments, even though I was using all of my credit cards because of no government assistance. I was just cycling money circular to buy groceries.
Yeah.
Can I ask you why you prefer Twitch over Instagram and Facebook Live?
I mean, for one, you get to set the rules to your page, to your chat, and so that's a huge one. But also the exchange. There's so many ways to interact that I feel it's closer to in person than it is through Facebook or Instagram or YouTube, where you could just type something and hope. And so I like the interaction better. There's just more ways to exchange. It's more fun. For the viewer, it's more fun. And which in turn, when they have fun and I see everything happening, it's like at a bar. Like when you're playing and you see people engaged, and all of a sudden they're they're dancing, they're doing their thing.
No, it's more interactive on Twitch.
Yeah, the emotes and the things like that you can do, or the control over certain situations too. Like if I'm in a bar and I'm playing and people are dancing and doing their thing, I look at the emotes and things that people share as that. It's kind of them dancing and having a good time in the room, and I see those things, on the screen. But then if I'm at a bar and some drunk person comes up and they're just fucking yelling Freebird at me, you know what I mean, or whatever else.
Yeah,
when they just want those things, you can't turn them off.
Right.
And you don't, when you hear them say it, you don't want to do any of that.
Yeah.
On here, when you get, you have a song list that's put up, and I add to it all the time, but like you have a set song list for people to choose from. So you've already controlled that environment. You don't, there are strays that come through and they request all this nonsense, and you get trolls and stuff. But fortunately, if you've been fortunate enough to run into, lucky enough to run into people on this platform that are helping you, you have moderators. So the moderators are the best part of the stream experience for me, because it takes so much of the load off of me paying attention to the chat for the terrible stuff that because you got to remember that there's children all over this platform, and so what do children do? They act out, you know what I mean? And so they'll come on your platform and spout off some terrible shit and just, you know what I mean, run with it and try to get a reaction. Well, your moderators see that and they warn them, and then if need be, ban them from.
They're like the
stream.
bouncers in the venue.
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah, 100%. And so
it's
a beautiful thing.
Say, you and Mike, you guys are already tried and true seasoned musicians, right? Say the people that are starting their musicianship or their live streaming, probably the younger kids that are doing it, say on Twitch, Instagram Live, or what have you. You guys know how to control trolls when it comes to a live situation. The Freebird guy, the guy yelling songs that he wants you to play. Now, do you think people that come from strictly Twitch is going to be like nowadays, and then they start playing live gigs? How do you think they'll handle like a real live Freebird? Because there's no bouncer for them.
Well, it's an interesting thing. So
on stage, like, oh man, it was so easy on Twitch.
It's an interesting thing because, and I was just having this conversation a few times over the last week. Like my job as a musician for the last 20 years has been to read people. So now some slip through the cracks, but I consider myself an expert at this, to read people and to know what they want to give them out of the room, and all that stuff. But how to spot those kind of people, the trolls. That in particular is the most heightened part of my expert experience and expertise, because in a real in-person setting, like if you can't recognize who's a piece of shit and who isn't, you're gonna have a long run with this music stuff. And so again, I'm just learning how to read it instead of see in person. But what I've noticed is that from the streamer's perspective, a lot of us streamers that have become friends on this thing, we smell our own just like in real life. Like I see and I know in the first 30 seconds of when I see someone stream, if they were a gigging musician or if they're just really talented and they play out of their room and have never experienced a real life setting. I see it instantaneously. I see it, and I love that. And on top of that, I think it gives someone like myself that maybe is not as talented as some of those people that just have played in their room. I love a lot of what they do, and I find so many good musicians on this platform. But I stick out like a sore thumb, and so do the guys and girls that I listen to on this platform, and I gravitate to their pages. And I find in my stream, a lot of the time, it's other streamers that are in my streams, and I think it's for that reason mainly. And so I don't know how someone from their room would handle someone in real life being a turd in their gig, but I will say that those people are a little bit more heightened than I am, as I'm playing a little catch up digitally. They're a little heightened on this platform than I am, and they're really graceful in how 9 times out of 10, or maybe even 10 times out of 10, they're very graceful on how they deal with a troll that goes into their chat. And I learn a lot from their chat, watching their channels and how they engage and nip that in the bud gracefully without turning somebody away. I've seen a troll enter a chat on a stream, and you could tell that's what they were there for, is to be an asshole.
Yeah.
And I saw the streamer gracefully control that situation so well that troll wasn't a troll anymore, and they stayed, and they were a productive part of that community.
Oh, that's
And
dope.
I've seen them in there since, not
Nice.
being a troll.
Nice.
They may be a troll on somebody else's channel, but they're not a troll on that person's channel anymore.
Right.
Wow.
I think that's rad.
Yeah.
And so there's different ways, and I'm learning just as much as anybody else on this, but I think that every musician should have a Twitch channel at this point.
Yeah.
No matter what, even if you're taking it serious or if it's just fun for like one day a month and you're doing it, I think you should, to experience it. And again, when this platform blows up, because it will, even if another platform like Twitch emerges out of the dust, and that's the one that goes super huge.
Right.
All it does is draw attention back to the original platform of Twitch. So this and the people that have been on this platform have been on it far before my dumb self found it. And so, it's just a good thing to get involved with, and especially when things are going to keep shutting down and probably shut down even farther again soon, like completely shut down to where businesses can't be open. I think it's important to keep your sanity, and this is one of those cool exchanges. Again, there's so many ways to exchange on this platform of Twitch that it's so much better than Facebook and Instagram and all the weird virtue signaling that goes on those platforms, especially with all these times. It's an interesting world we're living in, man. Like, everyone wants to belong to something and point the finger at somebody else that they're not doing enough or they're not doing the right thing, because they want to stand with this group and say, I'm part of something. Well, fuck, I've been part of something since I was fucking 4 years old. Like, I grew up on the Mexico border. I've been fighting for as far as that goes, I've been fighting for my friends since I was a child. Like, it's a very interesting thing to see where we're at right now with some of that. And those platforms are toxic.
Yeah.
There's no.
Well, no, exactly. Like, when we talk about why you stream to Twitch and not Facebook, is for that reason. It's just a dumping ground for people's, fucking misplaced emotions and shit. Like, they're just like, I'm just gonna dump all this crap onto you, and then if they are watching your stream, it's just for like a couple minutes and whatever it is. It's just not built for that. Whereas when you're talking about Twitch and you're talking about first of all, a global community, who doesn't subscribe to this whole virtue signaling thing that maybe doesn't even make sense to them, you do find yourself able to sort of speak freely. And even though you're supposed to monitor what you say because there are children on the platform, I do still feel like there's a good amount of freedom to where it's not people in the chat being like, don't say that, you offended me, and blah, 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 blah. And you do get a little bit of that, of course. But, like, not that I've seen. It seemed like...
it happens in your Discord.
Yeah, in the D, it goes down in the D. B Skrills, thank you so much for stopping through. Matt is the best. I love him, too.
Brian's in the house. Brian is a gentleman that I'm going to text right after, or call right after I get off this phone conference, because I need to talk to him. Brian is a very good friend of mine from here in San Luis Obispo, and he is a tech savvy individual right here. And so this man is the man that's got every answer that I probably need for this platform.
Probably tell him about you showing your feet to everybody.
You know what I'm saying? He's helped me out with this platform from the beginning. And so so for those of you on Twitch, go follow B Skrill's page, because that man right there, he does all that good stuff.
Is he a streamer as well?
He is a streamer, yes he is.
Oh, okay. A music streamer?
What up, Brian?
Brian. Okay, well, I just friended him. I don't know if I could follow him.
Just get in contact with him, because he's legit, and he's super good dude.
So then what was that shift from Facebook to Twitch then? What was that? Because we sort of got off on this side tangent here, but we never really... How did you come to Twitch, and then how did you sort of, start really getting into it?
Well, so I've known about Twitch for a while, but I was streaming on Facebook.
Right.
And then a lot of life happened. Like I backed up on streaming on Facebook, and I needed to tend to my mother and like tend to my house and do some things and all this stuff. And so I had caught wind of Twitch again, just some random ad or something, and I was like, oh yeah, I mean, check this out, you know. And and then I found some other there was music on there.
Mm-hmm.
And then Louis Valenzuela, like Louis called me, and Louis started getting into Twitch, and he's like, bro, I think we should probably be on this platform. And I looked at it and I was like, I think you're right. And so I started learning about it. Cause like when the pandemic hit, what I decided to do, cause I couldn't be near my mother, she's 77. We just didn't know much about the virus. So we aired on the side of caution, and, you know, and still do. But, I took all of my recording equipment that had been in storage, and I took it to my new house. And I was like, if I'm going to be on lockdown, I'm going to record some music, and I'm going to learn this shit, because I have never had the time. Because again, I gig 250 plus days a year on average, so I don't have time to learn all these programs. I'm not an engineer. I'm not a fucking dude, you know.
Yeah,
I don't know how to do that stuff. So I took my stuff up there, and I started recording. And I had everything that I needed. I had my Scarlett. I had my mic, my Blue, you know, my Bluebird. You know, I have everything that I needed to keep myself sane and put some content out for these people that have been my friends and following me for all these years. So I started doing that, and that part of deciphering that technology led me into Twitch as well. Because I started to see that people, when I would Google something to figure out why the audio wasn't working or how to do it, Twitch would pop up. And I'm like, well, maybe there's something to it. So I dove into it, and yeah, Louis and I have just been calling each other a bunch of late nights, figuring out, troubleshooting this stuff, camera situations and all these things. But Louis sees things pretty close, if not spot on, to the way that I do.
Yeah.
And he's all in on this platform as well.
Yeah, man.
So
yeah, he's definitely putting in the hours. He's taking a different approach, which I, you know, everyone has their own way of doing things, but he's sort of streaming multi-platforms all the time. He's just like anywhere, anytime, which
right.
can
well,
go ahead.
Well, there's I was just going to add on. There's
Please.
pros and cons to it, and I think that's where you were going.
But I want your opinion on it.
Well, so he uses a software called Restream, and so I have Restream, and up until me getting this PC, instead going from Apple, and that's another conversation. I went from Apple to PC, and
right, the possibilities go crazy.
Well, the possibilities, but Jesus Christ, I didn't know what I was doing on Apple. And then I started to know what I was doing, or think I knew what I was doing, right. And then now PC, and it flipped everything upside down. So I'm relearning all of that too, which is why I couldn't find this stupid camera situation in my settings right now, because it's completely different than Apple. But at any rate, there's pros and cons to that. And so, and Louis and I actually had a conversation about this just about 3 nights ago. Because he did his Monday stream, his Monday jazz stream last week, and he's doing it through Restream, and I understand that he's trying to build like his following up on there and stuff, and I did it for a little bit as well at the beginning of this. I was like, oh yeah, you can stream to all these platforms at the same time. That's cool, it's great, but so he's integrated all of the chats from all of the platforms into one on the side. So what I found watching his stream the other day, it was confusing. And what it did was it took the experience and made it chaos all the time. Because you have people conversing from different platforms that they're not on the other platforms the other people are on. So like people who tune into a Facebook stream, when they see a Twitch stream, it's like, what the fuck is happening?
Right.
You know, they don't understand. And so you start to see that in the chat, or they're so uneducated about Twitch, or even vice versa, you start to see the people laughing at the others.
Yeah.
And it creates well, dude, they don't know what Twitch is. Right. Idiots. Right. Or it's like, Facebook is like, what the hell is that? Like,
Yeah.
where did they get that? Jesus
Right.
looks silly,
Right.
you know, kind of thing. And it created this thing. So I was trying to advise him, maybe he would want to just do Twitch or
Yeah.
just do a Facebook. And it's that marketing premise of like anybody that knows anything about social media or building followings on social medias. If you have the same content on every one of them, why would people tune into all of them?
Yeah.
Each one should be very singular, and you should offer something specific that you don't on the others for each of them.
Yeah.
And
Well-
so that's the way you should be doing it. And so I think he'll adjust eventually,
Right.
and he'll find the same thing that I've found, is that it just it's fun, but it might not be as effective as we feel
Right.
it maybe.
It might be a deterrent from growth on any of the platforms, just because it confuses people. And a
Yeah.
great point that Brian, or B Skrill, sorry Brian, I don't, now that I know your name, Brian, I'm just gonna call you Brian. But he was saying Twitch TOS says once you're an affiliate or partner, you can't technically multi-stream. Twitch can ban your account. So I mean, that's another aspect of it.
Yes,
And-
I didn't even know that.
Yeah.
I didn't even thank you, Brian.
exactly. Thank you, Brian.
I didn't even know that. Always learning, you know. Like,
Exactly. Always be learning, baby. No, yeah, I think you're right, and that's exactly what I was gonna kind of say. Not to that extent, because actually I didn't know that you could merge streams, and I've never been in that situation where I saw people just kind of confused by what's going on in chat. But yeah, it just seems like pick one and grind it out, and it's sort of. It seems like that seems to be the way to go, for at least for Twitch, anyways. You know, when you were talking about how you don't think that Twitch is gonna lower, because that's what I've been asking. I had the Fantastic Plastics on, who I mentioned earlier, and we got off topic, but they have a great stream. They just got partner. They have a fantastic stream, Fantastic Plastics, but they're just like this punk, not like straight punk. It's like cyberpunk. They call it cyberpunk, but it's like very quirky. I love it. It's dope. But they have like projection screens. They chroma key their skin. They go all in. You know what I mean? And they're jumping around, and it's a super interactive chat. You know, like there's all kinds of stuff you can interact with. And so I feel like that they have a really good feel for where this is going, because they've been in it for so long. They were in it before the pandemic. The pandemic hits, they get partner, because everybody on Twitch who was established was like, it went from here to like, you know, like all of a sudden it was just like, boom, you're on, baby. And then so I've been asking, like, do you think that this is something that's sustainable once things start opening? And as we've been talking about, things are closing the fuck back down, and we just don't know what's going to happen. But there has to be some sort of end in sight to this, and he doesn't think it's going to go down either. And one of the great examples that he brought up, which I keep on bringing up, is, you know, Justin Bieber. Look at YouTube. When YouTube first came out, what was it? It's like you watch like kittens playing with yarn, kids getting hit in the balls with wiffle ball bats. You know what I mean? It wasn't shit. It was just stupid.
It was E-Bomb's world, but weird.
Yeah, exactly. And then all of a sudden now there's people who are fucking making millions on YouTube, whatever it is, you know. And people are crossing over. People have Netflix shows. Justin Bieber is Justin Bieber, you know. So once you start seeing these stars sort of coming out of it, and also they're drawing stars into it. Did you hear they just pulled Logic in for an exclusive thing? And you know, Questlove's been doing it. Lil Jon's been doing it. So it's definitely hitting Skrillex. So it's definitely hitting this mainstream musicians. And it just doesn't make sense that it wouldn't. You know what I mean? Like, so
it's another thing for people to sell, man. And
sure.
so when you see that Amazon's partnered, you know, you have Spotify just bought in a couple months ago or more, and so they're in it, and that's why, like, so streamers used to use, like, when you have a stream coming soon picture up, or even like on your live stream, like if you play any copywritten music, like an MP3 of something or whatever, people would use that as their, you know, they have it on millions of clips. Some of these people that have been on here for years, they have like millions of little clips.
right.
with copywritten content on it. Well, you can't do that anymore. And if you have copywritten music on your channel, you get shut down by Twitch.
Yeah.
And so these people that had been streaming for a long time had to go into their backlog and delete all of it.
I remember that.
Which is how troublesome is that for someone who's been on for 2.5 years?
Yeah, for sure. Thousands of clips that you have to delete that just have other people's music, and some of these channels rely on music. Some of the, like their music was the huge part of it, because they like people get to dictate what comes up on the playlist and a myriad of different ways to integrate interaction. But yeah, that DCMA thing was really interesting. I was talking to another guy named Just Joe Syracuse, who is another streamer.
Oh yeah, Joe.
I love.
Yeah, he subscribed to my page the other day.
Yeah, he's cool, man.
He partnered not too long ago.
Oh, he got it. Oh, good.
He applied for it, and then I was actually on his stream when he got the acceptance of it. And he was kind of in tears, man. That guy was cool.
Dude, I had him on the show. He is a fucking rocker, dude. I love that guy. Like I don't know if you're in the Typo Negative, but like he was
absolutely.
Dude, he fucking his band has a song with Peter Steele. He has like stories about like fucking doing blow with Peter Steele all night and then banging groupies and shit. Like,
jeez.
But I forgot why I forgot why I brought Just Joe up. God damn it! There was a reason.
We were talking about getting partnered.
Right. Well, no. Well, we were talking about DCMA.
Oh, that's right.
So he was saying he doesn't give a fuck, because like Just Joe will do live learns and he'll just be playing it and like not even give a fuck. He has not stopped. He's like, I don't care. Like let him. I mean, he's like, I think it. He believes that was just a way of scaring people into sort of keeping it together. Me personally, I was like, fuck that. I don't even care. I know I'm a small streamer, but all this music you guys hear in the background when it's playing too loud and drowning out the voices, that's all shit that I've made with me or my friends and stuff, and that I don't publish. And that comes another thing. It's like anything that you've published, that's on Spotify, even if it's your own music, can ping you and get you fucking fucked over. And so like we're at another state where it's just like, how do we even use our own music as artists on our own content? Oh, I think I lost him. Yeah,
I think we lost him. Your screen is froze right now, but I can still hear you. There it is.
There's Caleb. Yeah, we're
there.
Back.
We go.
Yeah.
See, the internet's doing weird shit, and so
You know what, man? Fucking America needs to step their internet game up. We are not number one on internet. We're not number one on education. We need to get our internet at least the number one, bro.
We're failing it, and I might actually move into a spot that's got satellite internet, and I don't know anything about that. And I know, but I have read that it is not good. This is how much I'm invested in streaming. So the spot that I can move into is dope. They have satellite internet. I've read not good things to where you can't stream very well with satellite internet. That means I won't move into that place.
Yeah, dude. I hear streamers say it all the time, though, bro. I hear streamers. Raquel Lilly, who is another giant partner, she's like, I've lived in LA, I've lived all over the country, but like, if you don't have good internet in the neighborhood, I ain't living there, son. So I think she's in Atlanta, and apparently Atlanta has the fucking bomb ass internet, so that's why she lives there.
B Skrills, he's like, satellite internet will have bandwidth cap. So I'm aware of the cap. Mike, I'll ask him live on your show. This is live for me to B Skrills right now. My concern is not the data plan, because I can get the data plan that I need to where internet doesn't drop and you don't lose bandwidth speed. My concern is, will the satellite internet be able to hold a stream and not drop and be fast enough and all of those things to handle what I'm giving it? That's my question. For B Skrills. Yeah,
B Skrills, do you think that satellite will handle all of this projecting out into the world?
Yeah. Will it handle it as well?
Can they
to where I can stream as well as a cable internet will?
It was funny you mentioned that you were on your Mac. Like we were streaming on our MacBook Pro, and like fucking one time, fucking the fan was going, bzzz, and it just went, and it just shut
Well,
off.
well, even with the Mac, like I had my Mac gutted out and souped up for recording purposes,
Mm-hmm.
and I thought that it would do the trick for the streaming as
Right.
well. Two birds with one stone. So I had the processor upgraded. I had I have a 2012 MacBook Pro, which is one of the last years that you could actually upgrade things.
Yeah.
That's why people buy that model. So
Yeah.
I have 16 gigs of RAM. I have a whole new processor, in there. I got a solid state instead of that fan, thing that's going on.
Mm-hmm.
So we got all of that stuff going on. It couldn't handle the audio was amazing, but it couldn't handle any of the visuals because the graphics cards in Apple suck.
Right. Yeah, and
And
they
they
never
don't-
have. Yeah, they never will.
And there's
Yeah.
and there's nothing you could do about it.
Yeah.
So I was like, I'm not sinking any more money into this.
No.
I'm just switching to PC and moving along.
And
Like-
it not only is it cheaper, but it's easier to sort of put together. It's all interchangeable. It's just so much. I mean, fucking in the studio in fucking San Diego, fucking when me and Caleb shared a studio, we had a PC that fucking murdered, man. Like it just it did everything you needed. And it really just does come down to that bougie, like I'm an Apple guy. But of course, Apple is wonderful for audio processing. Obviously,
Right.
Run-
there are
Run them both.
yeah,
Run
exactly,
them both, and that
exactly.
in the future, if I need to do something else, I still have an amazing MacBook here that I'm comfortable with, and if I can merge these two and use them without buying anything else,
Yeah.
then why not?
Exactly.
If I can't, though, I talk about this with Louis and my buddy Gio, which was helping me with some visuals early on. We came to the conclusion, and I'll say it till I'm blue in the face. The one thing that fixes all your problems is money.
Yeah.
You just buy the right thing, abandon that third party driver,
Yeah.
and get the fucking thing you need,
For real.
and let it do what it does. And so the problem is, though, with the streaming game, it's super. It can be super expensive to do it, to be like one of these top notch people
Mm.
and whatnot. But again, the other beautiful thing is that it doesn't matter if you have like the best shit or not. If you're honest and you get a clean audio coming out, it doesn't even have to be a fancy audio, reverbs and what. You get a clean audio coming out. You do your thing, and your chat will eventually help take care of you because they care,
Yeah.
and they want you to have a good stream, and they will donate to your. You set up a PayPal, they will help, and because they care, not because they. I mean, maybe some of them donate because they feel. I mean, I've experienced a little bit of this, not even necessarily like through someone donating to me personally, but I know other streamers that they have had a lot of confusion on their page where, and it bleeds into their Discord, and this is going to be a little bit long-winded because it
It's
takes me
okay.
into another thought that I do want to address, like,
Please.
about Twitch with mental health and things.
Please.
But it. Sometimes the folks on here will donate to your page and spend so much money that they feel entitled that they basically own part of your page.
Yeah.
Like you owe them to
Yeah.
do, and you don't. It's a healthy exchange, just like a real performance. I'm offering you something, and I'm getting something back from you. Not even the monetary, just the exchange of energy. Like, I do this because I need to feel like it's my mental health, like medicine.
Right.
Like, that's why I play music in the first place. That's it. It's cathartic for me, and I do it. I just so happen to have gotten lucky that people pay me to do it, and I've ridden that wave. And if that wave stops at some point, I mean, and this could be it. Maybe I got to pivot and do a day job, and like our jobs may not come back. So
Right.
so that's a whole other thing. But what I've found is that in those confusing moments, like, the one topic of conversation that I see exchanged in every one of the streamers, followers, everybody in your Discord, time and time again, is they talk about anxiety and depression. And so I try to remember, and with all of my interactions, I try to keep at the forefront to remember that this platform probably, and maybe this is me being too opinionated, but when I heard about Twitch and the way that it goes down, right, it's gamers. What do I know about gamers? I know for myself, when I was a child, I loved to play video games and I loved to be antisocial because I got picked on when I was younger or what have you. And I like to sit in my room and I like to play that way and just tune out all the bullshit, sit and play my video game. Well, that type of person that was super smart, way the fuck smarter than me in tech, built a platform like Twitch so that he could interact with people just like him and build a reality that was one that he wanted.
Yeah.
And so that's Twitch. And so I try to remember that, because when I talk to these people, like I said, they bring up anxiety and depression. And that tells me, what do I know from a person that had vertigo from it and was bedridden for years ago? I know that you end up on a lot of medications. And I know that makes you not stable. And so I try to empathize and sympathize as much as possible with the way that I interact with some of these people. It could be really volatile, and you don't know who's on the other line. You don't know what they're going through, anything. So even if it's a troll, you can't just like tell them to go fuck themselves or whatever and just like ban them. They're lashing out for some reason. And so if you're not like aware that that's going on, just like in real life, like somebody at a bar, in person, like if somebody is just having a fit and they're drunk in front of me, and I don't know what happened to them. They could have lost their grandmother. I don't know what went on with that person. So if I'm just an asshole right back, you can't fight that flame like that with fire. It just doesn't work. Yeah. So it bleeds in, and I've seen it, and it happened. And Mike, we were talking about it. It happened in my Discord about 3 weeks ago, and then I made some decisions, and it happened in my Discord the past few days, and we're moving on from it. But there's just people that are not well out there, and I feel badly for those people, because even the ones that like lashed out and all those things, like I worry about those people. And it's funny to worry about people that you have never met.
Right.
That's an interesting concept, and that's what Twitch becomes. Like
it's true.
I feel badly when I miss a stream. When I'm supposed to stream and I can't, I fucking feel bad. And I'm like, I feel a heavy guilt, like I've offered something.
Like you skipped a gig. Like you literally just skipped a gig. Like you skipped
like I've said that I'll be there.
Yeah.
And people have bought in.
Yeah.
And they want to be there, and then I pull the rug out. I feel like a piece of shit when I miss a stream, or I'm late.
Yeah.
Or a piece of technology fails, like that shit earlier with the camera.
Yeah.
Man, like that's a gamut of emotions from PTSD from the last 4.5 months of my life trying to figure this shit out. Like I've worked really hard to figure this stuff out, and I didn't know anything about tech prior to this. So for me, being a layman at this, like this has been a journey, and like a simple glitch like that can ruin my day.
Oh, dude, I'd be fucking
like it
throwing
affects my
shit.
personal day. Oh, dude, just like it sucks, man. I feel like I didn't do enough. Like I didn't prepare enough, or like,
I feel you, man.
Again, I've been a full-time musician for 14 years. Being prepared and troubleshooting shit is my MO.
Yeah, for real.
When I don't know how, fuck.
Yeah, problem solving is part of the gig. I wanted to get B Skrills. He was saying that it all depends on upload speeds, and this is talking about will you be able to to speed or stream like you're doing hooked to a hard cable. He said it all depends on the upload speeds, but satellite latency could be a major issue. Right. And then he also was saying that Twitch only limits the amount of audio bit rate, and I think video bit rate as well, until you hit certain classifications like partner and so like tech rage, exactly. No, Reina just put tech rage in the thing. No, for real. Like you'll be sitting there and like you just want to fucking cry because you're just like, I gotta get this fucking thing. And
it's an emotional roller coaster, man. This
thing. It is,
and it's intense, and early. I mean, bless the hearts of the mods that have been there from the beginning, the moderators that have helped me with some of this shit.
Right.
Like one of my moderators, Izzy. She's been there since I started this, man. She's from Australia. Nice. Never met her before. Like, we'd call each other on Discord, and she would literally like hold my hand walking through how
Wow.
to do this shit. And I can't imagine how frustrating that would be to deal with as someone who is a tech savvy person that works in that field and all of that, like to sit there and deal with someone like myself asking dumbass questions. It's like when I first found out what an email was. Like I didn't put this into perspective.
Yeah.
Emails have been around for quite a while,
Mm.
but I didn't know what the fucking email was until like 2002, 2001. I had never sent an email before until 2001.
Yeah. Well,
Like I'm the last generation that didn't have the internet as a child. Like that's
how
me.
did that happen?
Like
Even we're the same age, but no, but to be fair, like depending on like how you came up, you might not have had the internet at young, like because at one point my family couldn't afford the internet. And then at one point we could. So like, you know, it's
Right.
just whatever the situation was, there was a time where internet was optional, and now it's just sort of become like the thing that you need to exist, especially now, especially in a pandemic. Matt, thank you so much. I know you have to get out of here. Do you have time to play a couple games or a couple rounds of?
I'm good for now. I mean, it's 3:00 here. My gig's not until 5:30, so I honestly I have another hour.
Oh.
Like really, like
you bet.
I'm just chilling. I just know I got to break down some of this stuff because, funny enough, I where I'm living right now, I'm in a loft
Mm-hmm.
above my very good friend's brewery,
Oh, nice.
Liquid Gravity Brewery, and they've been so gracious enough to let me stay here while I'm in town for the summer.
Wow.
That's
And and so I play at this brewery a few times a month, and today is one of those days.
Oh.
We just started doing every other Wednesday here, and so I play 2 Sundays a month here already. But during these times of fucking fuckery with the pandemic,
Yeah.
we don't know what's going on. So this is one of those days. I play at 5:30, but I just got to break shit down to literally take it downstairs and outside to set it up all over again.
Dude,
Um,
breaking this shit down too is another thing where you're like, well, but no, like, because you were talking about how you know, the grind
Yeah.
of touring and shit, and it's like every musician who I talked to who was a gigging musician beforehand, this is the hugest thing in their life, because it's like, you know, like you have to pack your shit up, then you have to drive to the gig wherever the fuck that is. It could be like 5 minutes away to like fucking 2 days away. Who fucking knows? And you get there, you got to set your shit up. If you're that kind of musician who has to set their own shit up, you know, set your shit
all
up.
of us.
Yeah, dealing with, you know, talking to bartenders, talking to people, playing your gig, you know, dealing with drunks. Then you gotta tear shit down while people are trying to talk your fucking ear off about dumb shit because they're drunk as fuck. Then you gotta drive home, and if you're an asshole like me who lives in Ohio and fucking and it's winter, you could be driving home at 2, 3 in the morning, -6, and then you gotta fucking unload your shit in fucking below zero fucking weather, take it in because
So
you
it
can't
doesn't
leave.
freeze.
Yes, because you can't leave it in the fucking car because it'll freeze and break. And then by the time you lay down in bed, you're just like you know, $200 or whatever you got paid for the night. You're just sitting there like, I don't know what the fuck I'm doing here. Like what?
Yeah, you always feel like I cover a song as of recent. I learned it during the pandemic because it was just stuck in my head. But Noah Gunderson, he's from Seattle, and he wrote a song called "Selfish Art." And after this stream or what have you, like, you should probably listen to it. The words to his song just kind of floored me, and one of them in there is you always feel like you're doing something wrong, you know, as a writer, and it's literally that you're doing all these things with a smile on your face, and you get real laughter and smiles out of it, and fulfillment and all those things, but there's an undertone constantly because of the conditionment that we were talking about earlier that is ingrained in your memory since you're a child, that being a musician is not a job,
Right.
and it's not respected as that. Even if you come to the point where, like, I just bought a house on the back of it,
Right.
so like I've done some things enough for some bank to say, you know what, you proved it, son, like I'm gonna let you own something in this country.
Yeah.
And they did it. And so even with that, I still feel like every day I should probably just stop. There's the little part of me is like, you know, money is easy to make and jobs are out there. I should just go get another job,
Yeah.
and my life would be easier or whatever. But yeah, you constantly feel like you're battling this, like I'm doing something wrong.
Yeah.
When we're not, you know. I mean,
no, not at all.
This is the toughest job I ever had. I mean, if I put in the hours that I've put in to be a musician into anything else, like being a doctor, I'd have like 5 different PhDs. You know what I mean?
For
like,
sure.
Like,
Yeah.
it takes a lot to do this.
No, you're right, and there is a lot of opposition to being an artist in this country. You know, like I know, and there's some countries, you know, like they take care of their artists. Art is very much appreciated. It's very important, and then for whatever reason, we love music. We love to consume art. We love to, you know, to enjoy a movie. We love to listen to our favorite band, but like, God help us if we have to go support them or fucking respect them as human beings or fucking, you know, like, or like, here's a fucking $1, now play what I said, fucking loser, you know, like,
Right.
and the
And a lot of that.
and the constant barragement from childhood. Like, I mean, I don't know what your mom said to you, but like my mom always told me, it's like, music's fine, but make sure you go to college so you have something to fall back on until you inevitably fail at being a musician, because that's what you're gonna do. You're gonna fail. Your family's gonna starve. And
See, I was fortunate in that arena. Like
Yeah.
my parents, like my father sang professionally for 28 years, but his career was over before I was born. My parents, you know, my dad passed 2 years ago. He was 76. My mom's 77 now. I'm 37. So they had me late in life.
Wow.
But never once did they make me feel bad that I was playing. They never once said, "Hey, can you stop that?" Like, "Hey, you're too noisy."
Right.
"Hey, your amp's too loud and I'm trying to sleep."
Right.
100%, not once. Like, the most that ever happened when I just graduated high school and I was still living at my mom's, and I just picked up a guitar, so I'm just learning, right? So her bedroom was right down the hall from mine, and I must have been so fucking annoying, and so I was trying to learn these, and I'm trying to play Megadeth and shit, you know what I mean? So you can imagine, you know, I'm playing Dream Theater, trying to play Dream Theater in my room, you know, like these things that don't make sense anyway, like, you know, these riffs, and so I'm trying to play this stuff, and my mom would be like, she just like real kindly and politely be like, "Hey," it's like 4 a.m, and she's like, "Hey, how much longer are you going to be practicing?" She would just ask that, and I knew, like, it's getting, "Oh, just a few more minutes, Mom. I'm about to turn things off. You know, I'm about to go to bed." And so I would do that. And then how I knew that I was gaining some ground in playing and learning how to do it right, is slowly I stopped hearing that question, and within that first year, I would be like, "Dude, is my mom all right? Like, I haven't fucking heard anything out of my mom in a minute." She was asleep. I started to put her to sleep.
Aww.
And so I knew that, like, I wasn't being as shitty as I was when I was learning, you know, but but they never once, you know, hindered my progression in music or made me feel badly for when I was going to school for kinesiology. Like, I was going to school for that in college, and I was playing basketball. I played junior college basketball for 2 years.
Oh shit, nice.
And so like, my life was an athlete before music, and so when I started to get into music, it started to take me over, and my major started to switch from kinesiology to being a music major. And so then I minored in physical education instead of that. I never finished those degrees because I couldn't afford to go to school anymore. Yeah. But you know, that's a whole nother bit of conversation. But yeah, slowly music took over, and then fuck, rest is history.
And I don't want to sit here and sound like I'm throwing my mom under the bus, because I'm not. She was a sweetheart, and when parents say these things to their kids, like, make sure that you fucking pick a real career and not this made up playland thing.
Oh, right.
And it's coming from a place of love, you know. It's coming from a place of, like, because they just don't want to see you suffer, and they just think artists suffer. That's, you know, the starving artist. So it comes from a place.
Well, I guess
of, like,
I said all of that story to say that I'm fucking pissed they didn't say that to me, because I'd be a millionaire right now, because I'd have a badass job and I wouldn't be living in a loft above a fucking brewery during a pandemic. Like we'd be set, dude.
If
Like
they would've just-
I wish.
They would have just been like, Matt, get a fucking job. Like, go find a career, a real career.
I'd have got a job. I'd have got a degree, and I wouldn't be sitting here. You know, I'd be like, dude, we'd be on a mountaintop somewhere.
You know,
You know?
you make a lot of sense there, but you know what? Again, I do want to say that my parents were very supportive, but they just, but we got lucky, right? We got lucky because there's some kids out there that are not lucky,
Yeah.
that who get their any kind of creativity squashed out of them, like either by an art
100%.
teacher or a domineering father or whatever the situation is. You know what I mean? Like whatever it is, some of these kids just get it squashed right out of them. They go and become like whatever their parents wanted them to be, and then they become miserable and angry and pass that generational hatred and anger to their children. And you know,
Absolutely.
cycle continues.
Some people become mass shooters, and others don't, and that's where that stems from.
Yeah.
You know, that crushing your dreams, like you're not allowed to have them.
Right.
I mean, that's a big fucking deal in the human psyche, and so
for sure. And that's
just doing it wrong.
And it's interesting because it doesn't have to come from your parents necessarily. I mean, like you look at people in Mass, you look at South Chicago. It's like when you grow up in abject poverty like that, it's like what kind of beyond this do you really see? You know what I mean? Like it kind of it sort of relates into that realm where it's like it doesn't even have it. Like it's in our culture to sort of destroy dreams, even though this is supposed to be the land of opportunity.
Right.
This thing that's been sold to us, but you know, people are. I mean, and now we're in a sort of a reckoning. You know, as a nation, we're reckoning that situation where like people are pissed, and you know, like I don't know, man. It's go ahead, please.
It's an in-depth. It's a long road, and we're so many worlds collided during this pandemic, and some may say got brought to light.
Yeah.
I don't think so. They've always been there. We just have the internet. That's
right.
it. That's the only difference is information age.
Mhm.
All these issues have been there. Anybody who's traveled, anybody who's experienced culture, have been fortunate enough to experience culture in their life, especially growing up in it. It just, these things have been on the forefront of people's minds and being fought for and against since I've been alive. It's been far before me.
Oh yeah.
But when the pandemic hit, all you have all day is to sit and think about it.
Yeah.
And then this country in particular is why it's such a mess. Is you're in this country that builds entitlement into your very being from when you're born, and being a consumer.
Yes.
And so we're in this mess while we want to lash out because we could do whatever we want, and we're allowed, and it's our right. And George Carlin said that shit best, man, when we were kids. A right isn't a right if it can be taken away. That's called a privilege.
Yep.
We're allowed to have privileges, and I don't care what color you are. You don't have rights in this country. They don't allow you. It's a privilege. And we saw it when they were shooting rubber bullets at people standing on their porches in L.A.
Yeah.
Yep.
You know, at the beginning of this, they're not doing that anymore, which is now they're just snatching people up off the street.
Yeah, throwing
You
them in
don't have-
vans. Jesus.
You don't have rights, and it's escalated, and but they've conditioned people so far down a rabbit hole that they fight for them to be allowed to take their rights away.
Right.
No.
They fight for it, and they don't even know that they're fighting for it.
Well, and you know, like for me personally, like that's a touchy subject too, because I do have a firm belief in the rights that are here, and you're right, we're not. It is a privilege to live here and to be able to have, even though this is a fucked up system, it's still a pretty good system. Like we don't have to worry
100%.
about getting dysentery from our well because fucking
Right.
because we got clean water coming out of the faucet. So
Right.
we do have this privilege and these rights though, man. Like for instance,
I mean it in the sense, when I said privilege, I mean it in the sense that if they can take it away,
then
it's not a right,
right,
Right.
and they're taking them away,
right.
and that's what they're proving to us.
I see what you say.
the have-nots
Mhm.
how much they have.
Right. Right.
And there's not a whole lot that we can do about it, but they've got us bickering
Yes.
amongst each other to divert the attention away
Right.
from the real problem.
Right.
Yep.
No,
Like,
exactly. And that's something
you
that
know.
we've been talking about. I've been talking about a lot is that, you have all these companies like Amazon and like getting on board, taking sides with this BLM thing, which I think is great. I think it's wonderful.
Me too.
That inclusion's wonderful. I love it. But what I think is happening is that they're sort of amplifying the dissension because in reality, companies like Amazon, who Jeff Bezos just now became the richest man ever in the universe ever, and they companies like Amazon, these huge conglomerates, they're basically one with our government. And what ends up happening is that they get all these legislations passed where they get these tax cuts where they don't have to pay, where they're able to sort of skip out on paying their part. And all that tax money that should be kind of dumping back into our communities and shit is kind of just lost in profit to these people. And so it's in their best interest to keep people worried about, black and white, because it takes away from the fact that they're just sitting there robbing us and we're working our asses off paying. As a consumer, we're doing our American duty as consumers, but yet we're dumping it into a system that's not giving us anything back. And that's the biggest.
We said it at the beginning. We said it at the beginning of this podcast. The haves and the have-nots.
Yeah.
That's always been the problem. It will always be the problem. And that, to me, what I agree 100% with what you're saying. It's the hard truth that no one wants to pay attention to because we're tribal and we like to stick to our groups and we like to stick to what we know and we hold on to the old. We don't like to move forward. Again, like people say the definition of insanity is what? Like you keep doing something, getting the same result.
Yeah.
Why? Why do we keep doing that?
Right.
Because we keep doing it.
Yeah.
I'm all for it. Burn it all down. Burn all the cars. I'm all for it. Like I understand that like being peaceful doesn't have someone turn around to pay attention to what's going on.
Yeah.
That's why violence happens. Because when you do something violent, someone has to stop and look. At least look for a second.
Yeah.
I agree completely. I grew up poor, so I understand that. People who haven't grown up poor think, "Oh man, you're just being a piece of shit because things don't go your way. Work harder.
Yeah.
No one cares. Work harder."
When you're poor, you don't have a voice. When a lot of people who are poor come together, then the voices get louder and louder and louder. Like you said, they got to look at us now.
Yeah.
But I don't. When you say like burn it all down, then people are gonna put something on you. It's like, oh, but how about the mom and pop shop? I know that's not what you're saying, though.
Right.
But people put words in your mouth like, oh, so you think the floral shop down the street and the local thing should get burned down? Like,
sure.
I'm not talking about that.
Sure.
You know?
I'm not. What I'm talking about is when I say something like that, things need to change.
Right.
And if violence is the vehicle for that, I understand because I grew up in it.
Right.
And so. But with that, I will say, if you're going to be the person to spout off and to burn things down, you better have a plan. Because, and my question to all of that is, what is the version? What is the tangible thing that you need to see that would make you feel good enough that change happened and you'll go home? That's my question. Because if you don't know what that goal looks like, you gotta have a vision of what that tangibly looks like, the end goal. You gotta have that, because if you don't have that, you're just burning fucking cars, man, and you're adding to the problem.
Yeah, what's it all for? Like, what's the end?
You have to know why you're doing it, what it looks like, what you want to get out of it. Because if you don't know what your version of success is, your definition of that, it's a lost cause. Like, you have to know what the definition of success is to you.
Yeah.
You have to.
Yeah, for sure. Or else you're doomed to wander aimlessly, like being mad at the world just because you don't understand. I don't get it. Why isn't it going my way?
And it doesn't fix anything.
No.
It doesn't fix anything. It adds to the chaos and it makes it worse.
Yeah.
I believe in all of the stuff that's going on right now. I understand completely because, again, I understand I'm a have-not.
Yeah.
I don't care how blue-collar I am. I'm a have-not.
Yeah.
Like, there's people that don't give a shit. But if I don't have a plan, then it's all for nothing. I'm making it worse.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know?
Enter Twitch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For real though.
Yeah.
For real, because like the way I'm looking at, I mean, honestly, because I freak myself out, and I listen to a lot of things. I listen to people on the right, I listen to people on the left, I listen to people in the center, I listen to financial people, and it's like the way things are shaping out to be, like I feel like if you have a savings, that maybe you should diversify it out of the US dollar. And like and what's so interesting about Twitch is these things called bits, which are, I don't know, they're universally the same amount. Like I'm just wondering, how this is all going to transfer if the dollar bottoms out, and all of a sudden, Twitchers, they people, especially people who have it going and who are making a living or supplementing living. I'm just wondering how that will affect them if the US dollar does bottom out, because this is a global community. Do you think that maybe that people, like especially American Twitchers, might have a chance to sort of ride through it as a musician because it is a global community, and the US dollar is the US dollar? That's not going to affect.
It's all the more reason to be involved with Twitch if you're making finances from it. It's all the more reason.
Yeah.
Because the American dollar is going to bottom out. See, we haven't seen a spike in the is dropping the way that they have. Even in the Great Depression, they didn't drop the way that they did. So we're going to see a wave of things coming because of that. And because it's global, it's another reason that it might help you stay afloat some way during the madness of all of this. Because this country is running into the ground at high speeds we've never seen. And the powers that be that are governing, even before our current Biff Tannen president that we have now, like we're literally living in Back to the Future. Like, this is the sequel we never wanted.
Right.
But even prior to that, we've been on a crash course for a long time, and we could paint those pictures any way we want that some of those politicians were for us or what have you. They're politicians at the end of the day, and there hasn't been one that has done any bit of good. Now, we're getting in political rants, which is fine, but even take Bernie. I mean, he was, if we were going to have a best shot, I agree that he was probably our best shot, even how senile that man can be in different ways. Because, and the fact that he probably wouldn't even last to see the end of his term. He's a very old man, and I don't know why we get these choices.
Yeah.
I like the guy, but at the same time, you got the guys like that have been spouting off things for the people all this time. Where are they when they lose the campaign, or they don't get what they wanted and get the position they wanted? They fucking disappear.
Yeah.
Where are these people that cared about us so much while they were campaigning and wanted your vote? Where are they?
Right.
People keep posting a picture that that Bernie was walking in the civil rights movement. I'm glad that he was. Great, fucking awesome. But now, where are you after you spouted the "I want free healthcare for everybody"? Where are you? Right. You should be in the public eye, and not. You should take some of that mansion money that you're living in and keep yourself in the public eye so we can see you, so that you can fight for us, because we believed you. Where are you? We need you. They're not there because they're politicians. They don't give a shit.
Right. That's a great point. I never figured it like that, because even if he lost the presidency, doesn't mean he can't do good for the world.
We all know who he is. We believed in him.
Yeah. He don't mean shit. That's just a seat. That's just a placeholder sometimes, And
these positions of politics, you should be a servant of the people.
Exactly.
That's why you're there. You shouldn't be doing it so you can be a career politician and live in a mansion far after you didn't get the seat or not. That's what they're doing. They're living off of us giving not just our tax dollars, but the extra bucks, saying, fuck, we need you. I believe you. And then they drop off the map. That's been since before I was born. It's been the same thing.
Yeah.
Right.
Definition of insanity. Remember that. The same thing.
Right.
Man. And that it breaks my heart, because no one's talking about it that way.
Right.
Like, I want to see these people far after they lose.
Right.
The people that really had something to say that affected my life, I want to see them fight for me.
Yeah.
They've gained themselves into a position of level to have their word be posted all over the commercials, posted all over the billboards. They got money to keep it. Man, if I had that kind of money to fucking promote an album, Jesus Christ. God damn.
Platinum,
like,
baby.
Fuck. And then you'd be able to keep it there because we're in a consumer-based society. So you know what I mean? You'd have the finances to keep it where it needs to be.
Right.
Well, Bernie, you got here's my shout out to Bernie. You got the finances to keep yourself where you need to be.
Yeah.
Where the fuck are you? Because we need you.
Right, man.
Like,
yeah, no, it's definitely just become this system that's sort of it's just become so riddled with corruption and like when you think, and this goes back to that whole like entitlement thing that's sort of baked into our psyche, where it's just like we're number one, and then even for me to sit back and be like, I can't believe how far we've just fallen apart. I mean, I can, but like that feeling still of like, this is America. This is America. This is still America, ain't it? Goddamn. This
put
is
an
still
apostrophe on that fucking thing.
You know what I mean? This is still America, ain't it? I mean, goddamn. And
Right.
that still comes rattling out because I, as much shame of this country has brought upon itself over the years, over history, it's like I still am a goddamn proud American. I'm fucking
Right.
I still fucking respect the flag. I'll stand for it. I'll kneel. I'll kneel too, which is part of being American. It is
Right.
protesting the shit that you don't believe in too. So it's just like I see like how people are protesting wearing masks and like I'm just like in my head I'm just like, well, they're goddamn Americans, right? This is fucking America, ain't it? And then on the other hand, it's like, well, god damn it, why do you want to fucking keep spreading this disease? Why do you want to, like, why is this such a big deal for you to fucking just play along until we're fucking through this thing? So it's just this really weird dichotomy
we've made a conscious decision, and I understand both sides of this decision. And when these protests started, these gatherings, I understand why, and I grew up on the border of Mexico. I've been seeing shit like this since I was a kid, and it's not a surprise. It's never not been there. It happens every day, and so I understand why people started to gather, and I support why they gathered. Then the other side of it is the decision that we made is that we don't, while not knowing shit about this virus, especially because all the information we get is skewed and in different directions to keep us all fucked up. We made a conscious decision that we don't care as much about our older people and our autoimmune people, and we made a conscious decision saying, we've had enough, and race is more important right now. So let's do, during the midst of a fucking global pandemic that is affecting the whole world, not just America, which would be the hugest hoax I've ever heard of if that's the thing. But those same people that are at those marches too are the same people that are saying, look at that Alex Jones listening fucking conspiracy nut and all that. But if they're the conspiracy nut and you're mindfully going out into a crowd of thousands of people, even if you're wearing a mask, come the fuck on. You gotta take ownership of your decision, and your decision was to say, this is more important than that.
Right.
And I understand, and I'm okay with the reason, but we gotta be real here. We're in a fucking moment in time that we don't know shit about, and people are dying left and right.
Yeah.
And so it only takes one with the virus, and we've got thousands in the streets and in the parks, peaceful or not. That has no bearing on the point that I'm making. We're in a global fucking pandemic. My mother's 77 years old, and some of my closest friends have autoimmune diseases, which a lot of us are in that very same boat. And it's like, well, you can point the finger and say you're not posting enough race matters on Facebook, and you're a piece of shit for being silent, because silence is violence. But you're killing people just the same. You're contributing in a different way. See, people need to one guy I think everyone should listen to There's and I'll text this to you, Mike, when we're done with it. I will text this YouTube video to you. It's a TED Talk by Robert Sapolsky. He's a microbiologist. He's a very world-renowned man. He's literally one of the smartest minds that we've ever had on the planet Earth. And that guy is a specialist. He's an expert in the human condition and why, but he's an expert in genes. And bro, there's so much shit happening, and we got to know the reason why people do things. If we're gonna judge them harshly, and we leave out the knowing why, and we go straight to judging people harshly.
Yeah.
And it's a problem, and people they want to fucking feel like they're doing something instead of educating themselves first and then making a plan and then doing things like.
Yeah.
Feels like
change.
the first feeling that people go to. Like they don't think on it, and then if outrage is your feeling after you think on it, then that's your educated feeling. But people's usual feeling is like, I don't like that, fuck that person, or fuck that company, or fuck that group of people, which shouldn't be like that. But also, it's ingrained in our internet culture, our comment culture, our cancel culture, the woke culture. Even though I'm with the woke people, sometimes they can be fucking shitheads too.
The biggest
they like
shit.
to call everything racist, and they like to even call people like comedians racist. Like you need a certain part of a culture to make light of heavy situations.
Yes.
Well, and to add to that, if you're a true what's the word I'm looking for? I definitely don't want to use the word patriot, but if you're a true innovator in the human consciousness, if you're that person, the last person that you should want to not be part of your audience is the person that has a different view than you.
Right, you want that person.
And I'm sick of seeing people disregard the latter and just say, if you don't believe what I believe, you're a piece of shit.
Right.
That's not the audience you want. If you're preaching to the same people in a room that believe what you believe, then you just become the Hitler.
Right.
And you X out all the other people, and you're trying to build a master race of people that think like you do.
Right.
And that is...
No matter what side you come from, too. Whatever your beliefs in, left
it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter.
Yep.
Like, there's no understanding without having both sides.
If you're trying to make a right out of a wrong, you want to talk to the wrong. You don't want to talk to another right.
Right.
That's the whole point, and it's a very interesting time to be alive. While at the same time, it's the most peaceful time that's ever been in the world's history.
Right.
As much chaos and crazy shit, literally, this is the most peaceful time we've ever had in the world, ever.
Right. We don't have people we don't have barbarians just kicking down your door and raping and pillaging and fucking, it's...
Well...
I mean, kind of.
It just doesn't look the same.
Right. It's a different look. It's a completely
But
different
as far as physical violence, this is the most peaceful time that's ever been.
Right.
But on paper, there's your real slaughters that are happening. Legislation, systematic problems, and all of that. But you got to know the whys before you can fix. You have to know where it's coming from and where it's stemming from. And if you're making your decisions based off emotions, then you're destined to fail.
Right. And everything's been politicized. Everything's being politicized, and everything is all about party politics. Like either like the Bulls or the Lakers. If I say I like Michael Jordan, people think I automatically hate Kobe Bryant. So if I say I like Biden, then people automatically think I hate Donald Trump. But there's some things that Trump I agree with, and there's some things I don't. Something I agree with Biden, and some things I don't.
And the problem is,
my friends say, "Oh, Trump said this," and I kind of agree with him on that. I'll be like, "Fuck you, you're a fucking racist, and you hate immigrants." I'm like, "Well, I didn't say all that. I said I agree with one thing he said, maybe a couple, and a couple things Bernie says, and Biden, and Obama."
But they're all politicians at the end of the day, and they don't give a fuck about any of us. So that's where I stand in the middle. So I keep them. I pay attention. But they're not getting too close to my emotions because I understand where I sit. I'm a have-not, they're a have. So
Mhm.
That's just kind of where we sit.
Right.
I just think there just needs to be healthier exchanges, and to bring this full circle, I think Twitch offers a healthier exchange than every other social media that I take part in, which is all of them.
Mhm.
And I think I do think Twitch offers that, and on a level of people viewing what I offer, I think the gratitude for that is honest, and I think it's real. And I think if I'm going to make a change or contribute to like the world in any way, I mean, music is the medicine that I offer. That's all I've got. I don't have finances. I don't have education. I don't have all of those other things that I would need to make a bigger effect. But if I can affect my circle in a positive way, and music is my vehicle to do so, then that's all. That's the most that I can contribute. And if enough people affect their small circle, then you got a bunch of small circles, and you have a mass movement of good people. And that one person can't change the world, but a bunch of small circles of good people can shake the fucking grounds of anything that we've got built right now.
Absolutely.
So like, why not focus on that? And I would advise every musician that I know to join Twitch, because that is the platform, and you're reaching global communities.
Right.
You're not stuck in the bar down the street. You're not stuck with your Facebook platform that doesn't have the interaction that you need.
That you're just getting buried in the algorithms anyways.
The algorithms.
The algorithms.
Christ.
Yeah.
That's another. That's another.
The algorithms. No, it's a fucking mess, bro. But no, just sort of going back to that. Oh my God, we got a hype train coming. Oh my God, mighty.
There you go.
Thank you for the subs.
Hey, you know what? And Mike, you've been out of work during this whole time. Am I wrong?
Yes.
Right. So, no, in this chat, I hope there's some people from my channel. Everything you donate, please donate it to Mike. Please give bits to this channel and give all the stuff. Like I've been playing music, making some finances back from streams, which isn't much, but I know some people aren't making anything and still putting in the hours.
Right.
So for everybody that's out there, please donate to this page.
Hey, I appreciate it. I mean, it's never expected here, guys. Anytime that you guys bid, I really do appreciate it, and I appreciate the kind words in the chat about this being a good interview and stuff. Just sort of get to the game, because I know we were supposed to get to the game like 40 minutes ago, but just
good.
I just want.
I got 30 more minutes. We're good. I got 30 more minutes. We're good.
Thanks for the bits, Willow. For the 100 bits, that's amazing. The thing I wanted to stress about not shutting people down because they don't agree with what you're saying, and especially shutting down like comedians and artists for saying how they feel or speaking out against censorship and stuff like that. When you do that and you shut people down, and it forces them into the arms of extremism. And I feel like that's kind of how we got into this point anyways, because we silenced so many people because they didn't say the right things that made, they were saying things that made people feel bad, and I don't want anybody to feel bad. Like, that's not what I think, but this is life, and you're gonna fucking feel bad. Like, it's part of life. And I feel like we're trying to foam everything right now, and by doing that, we're sort of pushing people into extreme thinking, extreme idealisms. And
I agree completely. And it's these conversations that need to be had. And so like, you've been to my old house in San Diego, so you've been to the Bonita house, South and East Lake.
Shit's
so
dope.
Right, man, it's an end of an era right now, unfortunately. We could talk about that off the air, but there's a lot of things that have transpired, and they're not so good things, but at any rate, the whole concept I was saying earlier about building or affecting your small circle as best you can in a positive, educated way, that's the key. So one thing that we did, which is how I met you, and you ended up at my house during a symposium. So we used to hold a symposium once, probably every 2 months, on a Tuesday, when all of us musicians had the day off, normally on a Tuesday. And we used to have a guest speaker come in that specialized in a certain topic. like from cancer research to propaganda, like Professor Orozco from Southwestern College in San Diego. So like we had guys like that, women and men from different expertise arenas come in and do a 20-minute presentation in our living room. It was invitation only, and we used to post something on Facebook at the time. That's all we had. And you get all these requests like for people that wanted to come, and then we would sift through and invite them, and they could bring a +1 or what have you, because you didn't want too many complete strangers in your house. It was our home, so there's that. But we used to have it, and it was anywhere between like 40 and 80 people would show up to our house to this night to listen to this speaker. We'd have a band that was releasing an album or something play for 30 minutes as people got there to promote them, and I personally would, with help of some others, would cook for all these people. And they would give a presentation, and at the end of that, it was a Q&A for at least an hour after they were done. And you could ask anything you want. If you didn't believe what they believed, you could sit there and fucking argue with somebody that's an expert in that arena that does it. And that right there, like we had fights in our house, bro, like real fucking debates about, and debates should be uncomfortable. That's how you reach a new understanding of where you are,
right,
and a truth of where you need to go. And so that was our way of affecting our circle the best that we could. And I think that alone, I just want to explain what we did with that, because I think not many people think of doing that in their communities, in their friend circles. But I think if people did that more often, and now we can't gather like in huge groups,
right,
but you could gather 30 or less and do social distancing and do the same shit.
Mm-hmm.
You could literally do this right now, especially with all the time that people have on their hands. Oh, Jesus. Like, you could affect your circle in a way, and I just think that that's something for people to think about and maybe implement in the way that they do things, because I mean, that's how I met Mike. Like, it's brought amazing people into my life, but education, and again, to not base things off of emotion and to listen to somebody who's talking. Like, the cancer research person that we brought in to speak, that was probably one of the best ones we ever had, because it was you always hear these stereotypes and these things that people say about, if they just keep you sick, they make more money than curing the illness.
Right.
And that stigma that gets placed on pharmaceutical companies because of who they're in bed with, which there are a lot of problems, corruption and everything. But you had somebody who's been in the arena of work on the forefront of it for 35 plus years, and she was speaking in our house.
Yeah.
And she tore up every stigma that there was, man. People threw up all that. She had an answer for every bit of it, and an educated one.
Right.
And it wasn't a volatile one. It was a real one.
That's
and
cool.
There's nobody in the room that had a PhD that could sit there and tell her that she was wrong. But
Right.
she explained in detail why. And that's something that is priceless. And we're literally looking at that very problem of people's opinions. While we have all this time on our hands, you start to see the joke surface now, where like YouTube PhD people out there with their conspiracy theory issues, and they don't believe in science because they're bought in like how do I know? Man, if you don't have a PhD in that arena, I don't want to hear a fucking bit of what you're going to tell me what to do in regards to a virus. Like,
Right.
I just don't.
Well, I feel you.
I can't go down that rabbit hole of it's a consumerism rabbit hole.
Yeah.
I understand it, but I'm not entitled to sit here and say that I'm smarter than someone else that's dedicated their whole life. It's like someone telling me how to play my guitar when they've never played a note, and I've invested 22 years.
Right.
You can go fuck yourself. Like, I don't want to know what, or someone telling me how to be a full-time musician that has never done that, and I've been a full-time musician for 14 years.
Right.
I'll listen to you, but I'm not hearing you. I've lived this
Right.
for so long. Like, I don't, the proof's in the pudding, and those people that work in our house really brought and merged those worlds, for years.
I was going to ask you that. So was there a person kind of like the YouTube PhD people that came to your house
all the time?
Would they say things like, but you're probably bought out by a corporation, like really staunch comments like that? Would they say that in real life? Like, because that person that says something like that, especially at that point in time,
that says something or feels that way, for one, I don't think they have the balls to do it in person.
No, because there's real consequence.
Well, there's real conversation,
Right.
consequence in conversation. You're talking to someone like that. You can't just like X out the button and turn the web browser off.
Yep.
They're not going nowhere.
Right.
Like they've got real experience and they can back it up
Exactly.
and talk about it. So knowing that going in, that person doesn't surface. They don't. There have been some heated debates in there. I mean, even like a Professor Orozco like came in. I don't mean to like name him or anything. I'm sure he's not on Twitch, so like he's not going to worry about it. But he was a professor. He was a social science professor at and a history professor at Southwestern College in South San Diego, Southeast San Diego, and he did a presentation on propaganda. Now this was during the Trump. This is shortly after Trump got elected president, right? So you had a lot of heated people, a lot of emotional people after the ride that Bernie took us on, and he was so close and then got screwed over and all the stuff that went on, right? So he did a presentation on propaganda, and Trump was a focal point of that, but he's a history expert of sorts, and he didn't have a PhD, but he had his master's, and so he had a very high level and understanding of propaganda. He gave this beautiful presentation, but I noticed early on that the people in the room weren't there to debate it. They were there to pat each other on the butt and say, "Hey, man, we're friends. Like you're just like me, man. We should hang out and we should bash the other side," and they were making jokes and comical things and I get it, and it's not even that I disagree with some of the things they said, but this was a place for debate. And so I tried to spark some debate in that room, and so did Mike, Diego, our drummer.
Yeah, of course.
So Diego's that guy, and he's a scientist too. So, and he works in the medical field now, and he's that guy, educated man. So he started to spark a debate, and the debate never really took place. It just couldn't get going. There was too much virtue signaling from the room saying, "I'm just like you."
Yeah.
And so when it was over, the professor and I got in a conversation because they were painting out everyone who voted for Trump as a racist bigot and a sexist man, all those things. Now, I think that he is those things, but I'm not emotional about it. So I look at it a little bit different way. But they were trying to paint everyone that voted for that man as that. I have very good friends that voted for Trump, and I can't stand their vote, and they know that I can't stand their vote. But they weren't uneducated people.
Right.
They were blue-collar people, and this is what I explained to the professor. I said, those people were very pissed off, blue-collar, hardworking, come from poor area people that are tired of seeing the same machine run every year. All they saw is they wanted to shake the tree no matter what it looked like and see what fell, because we know what we get with the other ones, Hillary and the rest of them. You got a war machine, you did a thing. Now, how they went about it, you know what I mean? It's up for debate, but those were the foundation, in my opinion, of the people who voted for that man, that voted for Biff. Like they were educated people, but it wasn't about him. It was about them and the system and the way that it worked. They were tired of it.
Right.
When I said that to the professor, the thing that broke my heart, he had never thought of it that way.
Wow.
And that was the problem. The problem was someone and he expressed to me, he's like, I think I'm going to have to change my course.
Wow.
I'm going to have to change the way that I deliver my class.
Right.
Because I didn't think of that. I didn't think of those people.
Right.
He was caught in the machine of propaganda that he was trying to warn people about.
Right.
And if it can catch the smartest of us, it can catch you or I.
Yeah.
And that's where you have to leave emotion out and just think about what you're doing and find out the why. Listen to guys, scientists like Robert Sapolsky. Listen to minds like that are smarter than us.
Right.
If we do that, I think we have a hope. If we don't, I don't think any of this is reversible.
Yeah. It's like listen and let's discuss. Like let's talk about it. Let's not hate each other at the end of this. Let's try to find what we have in common. Because the thing is that you can look at Trump supporters as, you know, bigots or whatever, misogynists, whatever you want to do. But the fact
Right.
is that fucking that's the bus driver that takes your kids to school. That's the teacher at school. That's your neighbor. That's you know, your friends. It's like, are you
Right.
gonna just cut all these people
Right.
out of your life and just talk to the people who agree with you? You know, like
Right.
like we were saying, like that's how we got in this mess in the first place. Is we just ignored people and we pushed them into.
Well, there's a reason for that too, and
Yeah.
and then when you dig a little deeper, you find guys like Stanley Milgram, which is a world-renowned scientist. He was the one. Other scientists chastised him early on. I think it was in the 60s. No, it might have been the 70s actually. He did the experiment with electroshock
Well, yes,
stuff.
Yeah.
So he's the guy that invented that. They made a movie on it, but they made a movie on like the experiment they did at Stanford, where it was underneath the library. They turned it into a prison, and they made volunteers, students, be guards or or inmates.
Right.
And within 36 hours, it got fucking crazy. And the guards were like violent to the inmates, like for real violent, and like all these things. So there was that, but there was kind of like they missed a lot of points and they lied about a lot of stuff in the way they put that movie out. But there's a movie called I think it's called The Experiments, and I forget the gentleman's name. I'll send you the trailer for it. You can find the trailer on YouTube and watch the movie for free. But it was all about the human condition. See, he was a Jewish man, and he was trying, so was Robert Sapolsky, and he was trying to figure out why, he was trying to find out, out a lot about like the human psyche and human behavior, and so because he was Jewish, he was looking at the Holocaust. You know what I mean? You had he's like, why did good German men that were just trying to provide for the family, why did they do such horrific things to other human beings simply on the word of somebody convincing them that they were less? Why did they do that? And the human species and what they're capable of is very interesting, and Stanley Milgram goes into that. And every one of us is capable of those very same acts. It's embedded in you.
Right.
But it can change at the drop of a dime too, and that's where Robert Sapolsky comes in. And it's an interesting thing to look at, and those two men in particular, like, you would learn so much more about the why if people paid attention to gentlemen like that.
Yeah.
It's an interesting thing.
Yeah, it is. It is an interesting thing to think about. What is it that motivates people to power, and what motivates people? I mean, just what motivates people in general. You know what I mean? Like what is motivating people to block people out, to shut people down? And obviously there's good reasons behind it, but
the main reason is to do the best they can for their family.
Well, I think that's what it should be, but I don't.
Even
think
when
that's
they're
what it
doing
is.
horrible, like those German soldiers that were doing those terrible things, they were at a job.
Yeah,
They were
I see what you're
following
saying.
orders.
Right.
When you take the emotion out and you're just at work and you're following an order, you don't think of it the same way. And that's
Right.
part of what they go in depth and why
Gotcha.
genes and all these things go into play. And so those are still the root of why they did the things that they did, even horrific. It's like Robert Sapolsky says, we don't hate violence. We just hate the wrong kind. We applaud people for murdering other people and we give them medals.
Yeah.
But if
Right.
it's in the wrong context, we want to see them hang.
Right.
Right.
It's the wrong kind. We as a species are a miserable, volatile species, and a very confused one at that. And if
Yeah.
we remember that, then you can start to progress. You
Yeah.
know, and I have no degrees or any of that. So here's your disclaimer. Like, don't believe shit that I say. Just go research
Yeah.
some of these people that have PhDs that can guide you in a better way.
Someone who else comes to mind is Jordan Peterson, who gets a lot of shit.
Another guy.
But
Another guy.
who speaks on this kind of stuff, and who really emphasizes self growth, taking care of yourself, so you can be a strong rock for your community. You know, and
Yeah.
to look inward and shoulder your burden is. I love that phrase. Shoulder your burden and fucking, you know, run at it and improve yourself and clean your room. You know, these different tenets that he has in his book, which is great. But I know you gotta get out of here. So let's play. You
Yeah.
mind playing like a couple rounds? It's quick.
Let's do it.
Okay, guys. It's game time.
I think I played the last time we did this podcast was when I was driving from where I now own my house.
Yeah.
I was driving from there back to San Diego.
That's
17-hour drive.
That's right. Yeah.
And we played one of these games, I remember.
Okay, so the idea is, how much does it cost on Craigslist? This is actually spawns from Caleb and his podcast that he used to do. So Caleb used to be the sidekick, and now he's still kicking down the side, baby. Hey,
Now I'm just chilling.
now just chilling. Now he's making hats.
He's showing off them pots and pans back there. I'm telling you, I'm a cook. I'm a cook, brother. I just like to see what happens in the kitchen, you know?
All right. I'm going to share the screen with you guys so you can see what's going on.
We selling kids. Your son is worth. He is priceless.
Oh, yeah. Well, he's adorable. He's fucking awesome. Okay, you guys can see that now? You guys see the screen?
Right.
Okay.
Right.
So we'll start with the Navajo painting. Here we go. So the idea of the game is it you don't have to get it right on. You can go over the price. It's like The Price is Right, but you can go over. That's what I meant to say.
Okay.
So
All right.
we're just bidding on how much you think this costs. I'll read the description, and everyone at home can play. And we're going to be playing for some patches from our wonderful guest and proprietor. We got I'd Rather Be Home. We got a few. So let's see. Black. We got a bunch of
it's from Arizona. I already see that painting's from Arizona. It can't be worth much, man. It's too hot out there.
So
It's too hot out there for it to be
this
worth
is one of
money.
my favorite ones. Epstein didn't kill himself, which I wanted to talk about that because that shit is getting awesome out there.
Fight Island. Fight Island.
Dude, that shit is getting crazy. Okay, here we go. We'll have Bowie Bart. We'll have David Bowie Bart, and we have Epstein didn't kill himself. And let's see, one more. And Black. Since I saw in chat, Wallace, welcome to the chat. Thanks for hanging out, buddy. Our mod Wallace. By the way, shout out to Wallace for being our new mod, along with Reina Mystique. Black, and it has LA. So we're playing for these. We'll see if we can get all three of them out. We might not. And also, guys, if you're in another country, I don't know if I'll be able to afford to send it to you.
That's where the bits come in.
You know what?
It's
You know
all
what?
good.
You're right. If you're in another country, I don't give a shit. We're sending it to you no matter what because you guys are beautiful. I was just at the post office the other day. I was like, oh shit! I sent something to Canada and to the Netherlands, and it cost like $40 for like 2 patches. And I was just like, damn. But you know what? I appreciate people coming and hanging out, so I don't mind doing that. It's just I can't do it too much. But we're doing it. Thank you for talking me through that, Matt. That was great.
No worries.
I was gonna ruin the game for everybody. Okay, here we go. I'm gonna cover you guys up for a second. So this is a Fred Lucas painting, whoever the fuck that is, drawing proud Navajo of Red Rock, Arizona artist. And now this is titled Native American Proud Navajo of Red Rock, Arizona artist. Famous Arizona artist, painter. Original drawing by Fred Lucas. Wow, they just keep saying original artist. This is out of Lakeside, California. So we're talking about San Diego. So, you know.
Damn, Lakeside in the house.
So,
Whoa!
so I'll zoom in for you guys to get a good picture. Go ahead and drop whatever your guesses are in the chat. And we'll start with Matt. Matt, how much do you think this costs?
I don't know if they kept saying original and they kept saying artist, and knowing that they're from Lakeside, they're a have-not in a have area, and they want to get out really badly. I would say that painting is probably worth about $160.
Matt says $160K. What you got?
Let me see. Do a little out, make it out. I don't know how to fuck internet things. Yeah, I was just trying to see the blank on the price. Kind of like the penis censored. You know, it's 3 inches or 8 inches.
Oh, look at him! Look at that strategy, son. Look at that strategy.
Digits out. I'm gonna go to the 3 digits.
Damn. Didn't even think of
Piggyback off of that and say like 140.
140,000.
Yeah, 140.
140.
He's talking about big P energy right there.
Big P.
Yeah, that's PP energy. Right?
This is big.
Got monster truck tires on his truck. That's what's happening.
Motherfucker. Anybody else who wants to play, please drop whatever you think this costs in the chat. I'll give you a few more seconds here to join in. If you want to win a patch from our sponsor, modedstudios.com. modedstudios.com. Go get yourself some, baby.
Hey, some of the Whispering Glitter. This person said $85.71.
Whispering Glitter's tight like that.
How do you get 71 cents?
Because Whispering Glitter's tight, I'm telling you.
I like it. I like the strategy of that. You got the over-under.
$11.
Over-under.
Okay. All right, we're gonna close off bidding, guys, because Matt does have to go. Thank you, Wallace. Wallace says 128.34.
That's a number play. He just threw that rogue 8 in there. It's supposed to be 1, 2, 3, 4, but he just threw an 8 in there for fun.
Oh, he didn't give a shit. Wallace is
No
a beast. Wallace is a beast, son. All right. Okay. So, actual retail price on Craigslist. Oh wait, I'm grabbing the wrong mouse. I need my drum roll effect back.
Damn, the suspense is killing me.
All right, actual retail price on Craigslist: $15,000. Well, it's whoever is closest. So I think Reina would take it because Kay, you're like 140, son. Like you're like way over.
That had to be a white person from Lakeside that drew that thing.
You know it is.
That had to be.
Why are you selling on Craigslist? They know on Craigslist got 50 grand.
No, they're hoping for that one rich person that's just decking out their loft. Like they're hoping for that rogue rich person. It's like, man, I'm gonna cruise Craigslist today.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm having a panic attack. It's whoever is closest. So you can go over. I'm sorry if you might have missed the rules. You can go over as much as you want. It's just whoever is closest. So it's $15,000, and you put down $11. So unfortunately, you did not win Panic Tack. But I appreciate you following up. You know what I'm saying? Because that's important. You know, you can't be getting fucked
11
over.
is good. An 11. That's like a baker's dozen at 13. You just.
That's tight. I love the compliment though. The person was like, I win. Like they might be so stupid that they think I win. Nice. I like the compliment. I appreciate it.
Wallace, no, you didn't, Wallace. You back up. You put 128.34. You're playing games. My mod is over here playing games. Back up. All right. So, since my mod won, we gotta play one more just because I want somebody to win that's not my mod or Caleb, because I'm not gonna send Caleb his patch back to him.
Right.
But you're playing, motherfuckers. So, all right, guys. We're gonna do one more round of this so we can get Matt out of here so he's not late to his gig.
I'm good. It's 4:00 here.
All right.
It's all good.
Let's do this. We're gonna blow through this. So this is a 1960s bronze sculpture, large bull, Isidore Bohala, mint condition. I don't know what that. This is out of Southeast Portland. So keep in mind.
How big is that thing?
Well, it has 80 pounds. So it's a bronze sculpture. This piece is quite large and weighs nearly 80 pounds. Like all of his pieces of this artist, they are very simply titled. This one is titled Large Bull. I welcome a personal inspection of this superb bronze. And I'll get a big picture there so everyone can get a good look at Large Bull by whatever that guy's name is. Go ahead and throw your bids in the chat. And Matt, I will start with you again. What do you got for me, baby?
All right. Let's see. We're talking about Portland, so you got. I mean, people getting snatched up off the street and they need to make money out there. So, So we're gonna go. This is 1960s. Goddamn, that's vintage. It's vintage. I'm gonna go with. Oh man, this thing's it's way more than the painting. It's way more.
Oh yeah, that's what I'm thinking too.
I'm gonna go 43,000.
Ooh.
$43,000 and maybe like 17 euros. Like maybe even a couple pesos in there. We're gonna throw like
That's a
5 pesos. So like,
oh shit.
yeah. So we're gonna go with 45,000 doll hairs.
All right,
I think
that
that's where
sounds
we're going.
good. That sounds good. Okay, what you got?
I'm gonna split that. I'm gonna go $20,069.
Damn, you should have went 68 in the OU one.
Hey.
Hey.
Okay. 10 tacos. Wallace says it costs 10 tacos.
Hey, dude, you can't put a price on tacos. That's a trick. That's a trick comment right
Yeah,
there.
you better back up, Wallace.
Right?
Talking shit.
I'll take them tacos over that bronze bull any day.
Right? I'm not eating a bronze boar, son. I'm eating a fucking taco. It's like, you know, when push comes to shove, I don't need no goddamn bronze boar keeping me warm at night.
Bro, we made some bomb tacos when I went down to San Diego a couple weeks back.
Yeah.
I hadn't been to the old Bonita house in a while, so like I went to see everybody and we did a social distance thing in the backyard.
Oh, nice.
But I went down to the local farmer's market. Literally, it's called farmer's market. That's how you know you're in the ghetto. We just trick people to thinking it's something richer than it is. But they have the best like food. So we go down there and I bought. I made 12 pounds of pollo asado, and I made 8 pounds of carne asada, and all fresh guacamole, and
Just
we got
murdered.
damn. Now I want some. I'm hungry.
Dude, I'm hungry too. When we're done with this, I'm about to go.
Let's sell that bull.
And sell
Let's
that
sell
bull.
that bull.
Get some tacos, son.
Yeah.
Oh man. Okay. All right. That bit of banter was nice. That gave time. Anybody wants to get their last minute bids in? Go ahead. I'll give you from the count of 10. So we'll go 10. I'm not gonna count.
Whispering glitter.
Dude, whispering.
1, 2, 12,345. That's like a.
4, 5.
It's like a combination
She's
an
out.
idiot would put on his luggage.
Yeah.
Now, hey, whispering glitter's tight, yo. She wins games too. I see her in chat. She'll be winning shit. She don't play, or she does play actually.
I'm a fan. I'm a fan of every guesstimate so far.
Hey man, I love it. All right, guys. So let us find out what the real price is. So actual retail price on Craigslist. Hold on. I'm telling you, I'm gonna get that.
Technology, bro. It's getting you.
All right, $3,500.
That's
$3,500.
1 penny off, yo.
They call it murder.
It's murder.
I'm sorry, I just had too much
I
fun.
love the playlist. I love it.
Okay. So let's see who won. Obviously Matt didn't, and obviously Kay didn't. Willow win or did Panic win?
Panic one, he was 1 cent off, yo.
Oh shit,
Damn.
Panic, dude! I forgot that we used to have this thing where.
Wait, man, he's from Oregon. This is not fair. He's from the area where the bull is from.
Huh?
I bet this motherfucker was looking it up online. Panic attack. Are you googling shit? Are you over there on the Google?
Yeah, you forgot, dude. This is the internet, bro. This is the internet.
It's all good. I don't even care. The fact that he's here and played is good enough for me. Go ahead, Mod, if you could put the Discord in the chat, and if you guys, I'm having a panic attack. If you want to, either you can get up in the D and DM me your address, or you can whisper it to me. But the mods will put the Discord down. Well, I'll just do it because they're not moving fast enough for my liking, so I'm just gonna do it myself. And everybody. Give Matt a round of applause. He fucking killed it. Thank you so much for coming back on the show, especially under these circumstances. Now that we're sort of in this pandemic, and you're killing it on Twitch, I'm just like really, really excited to see what you're gonna do next, man. And Caleb, obviously, this fucking hat is tight. People people love this fucking hat, by the way. People just can't get enough of this hat.
Radio.
But anyways, yeah, so thank you guys so much for coming on the show, hanging out, and
Yeah, man.
I'll
Hey, I appreciate you having me on the show, and I mean, I guess we should leave this on a happier note,
Please.
just because we talked a whole bunch of real shit like doing this thing, which always happens when you call me. So like, I mean, this is a hopeful time for like streamers and things like that.
Yeah.
So like, this is actually the opportunities that are being built. We don't even know what they look like right now, but there's people working. I know personally that there's people working on some rad things that are coming, but it's an exciting time. Like when, I mean, I know there's a lot of hate and confusion going on out there, but there's some cool shit coming down the pipeline. And so we just hang tight and get involved and stay active. I think we'll be fine, you know?
Yeah, me too, man. That's great leaving words, man. Everybody, Matt Suarez, Caleb MCI, give them a round of applause. These motherfuckers are out here working for you, for the people,
All right, boy.
for the
Nice to meet
people.
you, man.
You too, man. Definitely.
Stay safe out there, huh?
All right,
You too,
guys.
man.
All right,
Bye,
man.
Bert.
I'll
See ya.
talk to you guys later. Peace.
Later, man.